Brewers and Clobberets to Globby's Clubhouse number 38. I love it.
What she said.
What she said. And Clobbering Times number 386 on YouTube, over 2 years now on YouTube, and number 1086 overall. Welcome, 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 my dear friends. It is so
okay,
great
so
to
before
see you
we go any further, I have to interrupt the boss because I saw you all having a little chittity chat in the chat, in the chittity chat. We are late because the great Chris Persia made some beautiful graphics for this show and just for Clobby, just in general for Clobby.
Oh, sure.
And
Blame Chris.
we wanted to get them all uploaded and show them to the boss, and he just absolutely loves them. So we were loading up the show with all of these beautiful images made by Chris Persia. So sorry that we were tardy. We were actually here working behind the scenes, and we love you all. And certainly we don't like to keep you waiting. But look at this gloriousness. This gloriousness is worth waiting for. Look at that.
Chris Persia.
That's Clobby's living room.
Love it. Yes, that's right. Chris Persia, dude, you're the man. And I'm even reading, I can even tell which issue of Legion I'm reading on that couch. It's 259.
Oh, that's impressive.
You can tell by the color of the background there. That's and I'm pretty sure it's 259. I'd almost take anything on it. That was the first issue where it turned into Legion after it had been Superboy in the Legion for many years. Could be wrong, but I'm guessing that's Legion 259. Let me know, Chris Persia, if I got close. Anyway, welcome, my friends. So great to see you here tonight. Phantom Outsider is here with us, of course.
Phantom Outsider.
Phantom Outsider was a mountain. He was a big man with an eye like an eagle and as tall as a mountain was he. And agreed, Phantom Outsider, R.I.P.
Yeah,
James
that
the
was
great
really
James
sad.
Caan.
Yeah.
Great actor, yep.
Yeah,
Great actor.
Very sad to learn that.
Yes, indeed. The master of wrenching, bronze wrenching himself. Eric K., the bronze wrencher.
Love you, Eric.
J-Man forever.
Jason.
This Saturday, by the way, we will be. Oh, did I make I don't know if I made a thingy for it yet. I probably didn't. No. Okay. No. Yeah. Well, I'll find it later. This Saturday, we'll be reviewing Thor: Stolen Thunder on with hopefully Mark D will join us. It'll be J-Man, and hopefully Sean will be there with us. So
yeah, I might be able to pop in for a little bit.
Hope so.
Yep.
Of course, Saturday night is Saturday Night Star Trek. By the way, Man, I didn't load any of my damn pictures I was supposed to. So I'll do the show notes in a minute while we're saying hello. How about that?
That works. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet.
Yeah, I'll do it after we say the hellos, just because I can't do it all at the same time. Damn it, I'm an idiot. I got all the time to do it, I didn't do it.
Grr.
Okay.
Arg.
Hate me. Again, the aforementioned great Chris Persia. Let's see whom else is here. Whom else is here? Who else is here? The great Kal-El. What's up, Super One?
Real soup. Stephen M.
Real soup, indeed. Pop culture curator. Hello.
Hey, Pop.
Indeed, it's Joe's atmosphere. Hey. Oh yeah, a fellow Louisianian.
Hello.
Good to see you, sir. Thank you for being here. Linrod. Hey.
Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Welcome.
Indeed. Hang on, folks. Some weirdo named Mark CD with a something or other in there.
Something or other. Yep.
That guy.
That
guy.
Watch out for him in there.
I'm wagging my finger right now at that guy, that Mark.
Wag that
I don't want a
guy.
shin kick though.
Wag that finger. What are you, Seth MacFarlane or something? Hungry for Oprah to leave the Orville. Indeed, the great hungry boy. What's up, buddy? Man, I love that name. He always has the coolest name variations there.
It's because he's the coolest cat ever.
He is. Wagner. What's up, Greg? Wag. Good to see you. Apollome's minion and
the pepperoni scurries up and scurries down. La pepperoni is the coolest truck dog in town. Also, the official dog of Saturday Night Star Trek.
In all of Clobberin Times. We'll let her be the official doggies. Well, your doggies are also the official doggies of Clobberin Times.
Yeah.
Well, so.
I'm
have a
sure
lot
they
of
will
official
love that
doggies.
very much because
I'm
Lola and
thrilled.
Paco love you.
I love them back. Parrot Head is wasting away again in Clobberitaville. Because
I'm just going to
Margaritaville
mute
kicked
my
them out.
microphone for 2 wags of a puppy tail because I have to close my window. My
Go for it,
neighbors
go for
are
it.
loud.
They got fireworks?
None, they're just loud. Could not be reached for further comment. I'm glad you can be reached in our chat. Hey. Minimusness is here. I won't say his name. You'll have to guess who Minimus is, everybody. Just Joe 47. Jobber, what's up, brother?
What's up?
Always great to see the jobber here. I think this thing jumps on me. I think that's about everybody. It's so fur. And so fur there. Well, I
Minimus is complaining. He says, "Why can't I be great just once?"
Because you're you. You know better. Man's got to know his limitations.
Oh my goodness!
What?
That's a great quote.
You know what that's from, right?
Well, I know it's in a Megadeth song.
No, it's from a movie.
Which movie?
Ain't nothing like a good piece of hickory.
You guys got to know this one. Well, I mean,
I do know it. Oh, I'm just giving
I'm
Raquel
not
some
a
hints. I'm
geek.
giving
I'm just
Raquel
a
some
lowly
hints.
nerd.
Not you. I actually just meant Mark. You don't have to know it.
Oh, okay. Guess who's here? Dadman Clan
and
Captain James T.
Hey, Dadman.
You got it. Oh, Captain James T. Skywalker and Dadman. Good to see you. Right.
Yep.
Magnum Force. You got it.
Yep. There you go.
Yeah.
Cool.
And don't ever put ketchup on a hot dog either.
Who puts ketchup on a hot dog?
Well, that was in the Enforcer.
Yeah, the criminal.
That was that was in Sudden Impact.
Somebody should get smacked if they put ketchup on a hot dog.
Did he?
Right.
Do you feel lucky, punk?
Now I can do show notes.
There we go.
Sweet.
Saturday. I shall be joined at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. I shall be joined on a date that will live in infamy.
Like sands through the hourglass, so are the Thor and love and thunders of our lives.
You ain't kidding. This movie is that. With great guest J-Man. Hopefully Decepticon will join us, I hope. And, of course, Mark will deal with a seal. We'll try to make it.
I'll try to make it. Yeah, I'll be there for a little check in at least for a little bit. Yep, give my
And
quick
then
review.
later that Saturday night Star Trek, same Trek
Dun, dun,
the
dun,
time, same
dun.
Clubby channel, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Reviewing the TNG films, Gibberations and First Contrap. Oh, so we will we can't wait. So
Eric
there
just
we go.
yelled hello to me, so now I have to ask the grand bronze wrencher, the great bronze wrencher from Cali, what's cooking tonight, honey? What you cooking? I want to know what you're making. And Ezra Goldstein, good evening, Ezra Goldstein. He says, I put ketchup on my hot dogs, Raquel, superfluous exclamation points.
I don't see anything particularly wrong with that. That's just because Clint Eastwood, because Dirty Harry bitched about it in Sudden Impact. Doesn't mean it's that bad. No,
well, I don't like it. I hate ketchup. I think
Impact.
ketchup is disgusting.
I like
ketchup in the 70s,
relish.
but not anymore. Because in the 70s, it was more like A1 sauce or HP sauce. It was more of a grown-up flavor. Now it's just sugar. It's just straight sugar.
I love the Sabret's the Sabret's hot dog sauce. Oh, it's so good. It's like a red base sauce. It's just I'll grab a can to show, but yeah, it's and in New York City you get the dirty water dogs. You know, you have your
I don't even what?
Yeah,
what's that stuff?
Sabret's it's what's it,
red stuff?
Yeah, what's it called? I'll grab the can of it. It's hold on, I'll be right back. I shall grab a can.
Mustard is good on a hot dog. Onions, good on a hot dog.
No way.
Chili, good on a hot dog. Chili
and cheese,
even
chili
better
cheese,
on
perfect.
a hot dog.
Yeah. Right, absolutely ishness. That's what a hot dog is. Now, I don't mind if I have a mustard on. What's funny, it's weird. I'll do a mustard one and it's fine. But if I got chili and cheese, I just want that only.
Yeah,
and
me too. I'm the same way. Don't mix all that crap together.
I just can't handle onions on there. But other than that, you know. And you know what's weird about it is I've always bitched about onions.
Yeah.
And then when people who have bitched about onions around see me eating an onion ring, they go, "Wait a minute, I thought you ate onions." I said, "I do." You're eating an onion ring.
Yeah, but I don't like raw onions either. It's the fact that it like you and I don't like the white onion that is very bitter and very hot. But if you sliver like a red onion or purple onion razor thin, I put that on a burger, I'll eat it, and I'll definitely eat onion rings. But I cannot eat raw onions, like straight up yellow or white onions. No way, my eyes would bleed.
Nah,
well, here's the Sabret's Club. If you want to put my camera up for a
second.
Hey,
Tom's here. Tom.
Hey, Tom.
What's up, buddy?
So we're supposed to be talking about Thor, but we're talking about Sabret's. I got to send some of this to Nick Weiser. Yeah, I'm joking.
Ain't no hurry to talk about that crap.
Yeah, bacon goes really well on a hot dog. Pop culture curator. Chris Persia shredded cheddar cheese is so good.
Sorry, I took you out of the stream when I was trying to
you booted me. That's all right. Yeah. So this is like my favorite thing on hot dogs with mustard, onions, and sauce. Sabret's.
That's not acceptable.
Oh, this is so good. It's a New York thing. Push cart.
Onions and sauce.
Oh, it's like a.
Are you?
You've never tried it. Come on, you got to try it. You got to try it. It's if you come to New York City, this is what they serve on the dogs. So you have a push cart. You have a push cart.
New York City.
And the hot dogs are in the dirty water all day, right? And they're called dirty water dogs.
Call it dirty water?
Because it looks dirty, but it's delicious. Because the flavor, you can't describe it because it picks up all the flavor of all the other hot dogs. So they're boiled in the water all day, and then you throw some of this on there with some mustard, or some relish too, and it's just or sauerkraut. Well, this is my favorite stuff for hot dogs. So got to get
Guys,
that.
What are we going to do with him? This is like one of the sweetest people in the whole world. Don't we love Mark? But his taste in food is so nasty. What are we going to do?
That's classic New York. If you come to New York and you get a hot dog, that's what you're getting.
Honey, I
that's
don't
a New York
doubt
experience.
You are
it's
classic
delicious.
New Yorker, but your food is gross.
It's delicious. You got to try it. You can't say you don't like it till you try it, as Mom would say, right?
I can't.
You can, but yeah, it's just delicious. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. Yeah, and they say, yes. So try our Sabret's onions and sauce on your next meatloaf or pot roast. Perfect topping for Sabret hamburgers and hot dogs. And you got to heat it first, too, right?
Oh, Ledrod, you sound like a Canadian. Yes, like really super high quality sauerkraut
Oh
on a
yeah, good
brat
stuff.
or on a Polish dog. That's one of my husband's favorites.
Yep. So no one's in the chat has seen this Sabrett's
They're
onions
not
and
from
Honey,
New
you're
sauce.
York.
alone. We love you. You're the
They're not
only
from New
person
York.
buying that in the whole world.
They're not
We
from.
got to have someone from around the New York area to back me up here.
You're not from New York, boy. I don't see no points on your ears, boy. But you sound like a Vulcan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Uh,
where was I? Oh, did we tell Raquel? We had a weird thing happen last night with Wolfie last night that was on the show. Did we tell? We didn't tell you about that.
yeah.
What
Psychic.
happened?
That was weird stuff. Was that not strange?
That
Seriously.
was Strange New Worms.
What happened?
No, actual real worse stuff. Yeah. Okay. Last night I was just fumbling around for something to make a poll on before the show, and it was it was wild card Wednesday, so I didn't have anything particular to do. So I was thinking about just pulling comics right out. I mean, a couple of the ones I knew we were going to do anyway, but I just pulled one at random out of my ass I hadn't thought about in years. But I liked. I have no idea why it popped in my mind. I'm not even kidding you. Just Batman 321. Yeah, Batman 321. Let me just throw that up there. Just part of the of the four choices you get to what you want us to review next, right?
Right.
So Batman 321 was on the poll, and I don't know, Mark, were you in the show yet, or was it later?
Well, I popped in later, but I was listening for a little bit too. So
Wolfie comes in. Wolfie is self-confessed not a comic guy.
No.
But he was at his I think in-laws or something like that over over the July 4th weekend up north somewhere.
Yeah.
We won't say where, but he stumbled upon a whole bunch of comic books that they showed him. They just showed him down in the basement or whatever that they've really stored. They weren't in very good shape and stuff. And there were tons of them, back from this era. And he said, and he showed a picture, by the way, of him holding this very comic book while I was putting it on the screen. He was, in other words, while I was doing this in part of my poll, he had this comic in his hand in that stack. And he's not a comics guy. That was loopy, boy. That was wacky.
I swear.
It was truly weird.
I swear, like we are definitely kindred spirits with so many people in this little community that you've built. There are times when I find it bizarre how closely Max Redstone's comments are like yours and mine. And you know what I'm talking about. We don't talk about the shows beforehand. It's that what happens on Saturday Night Star Trek is all organic. And how he manages to write limericks using the exact words that we use when we start talking about it live organically. It does freak me out sometimes. But that's what Saturday Night Star Trek really is about, though. That you created that space for all of us, and we're all meeting there, and it's weird. It's like we were all in a family in some other life or parallel universe, because so many of us, we have so much in common. We can finish each other's sentences. It's truly strange.
It's Looney Tune, and here's a picture of he sent me a picture a little bit later of him holding up that comic.
Oh my gosh, Wolfie.
This was nuts. I was like, oh, dude, are you serious? Yeah.
It's amazing.
It didn't win the poll. It came in like third place, I think.
Yeah.
But it was in front for a while. And hey, Pat S., buddy, what's up?
I hope Pat S. is here? Good evening, Pat.
Pat S., brother, how you feeling, man? You doing okay? Hope you're doing well. Let us know, man. I haven't talked to you in a while. So, yeah, that's wackadoodle, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, by the way, the great Chris Persia again made this wonderful wonderful.
Well, I was gonna say real quick. Hopefully, Wolfie will find Dolly's braces next.
Yep. So he made this thing, and this is my guess. Let's see if I got it right. Okay, my guess is this here is the comic book that the thing is reading on the couch.
Yeah. Well, he promised Easter eggs.
That's pretty impressive guess. Was that because of the color scheme? You can tell from the
right.
That's only green behind.
Yep, see there, but that was my guess, and I guess that's probably it. It's tough to tell.
That's such a famous issue, too, right? Yeah.
Well, it's the very first one when the book went over from Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes for a while, it went back to being Legion. So he was leaving stuff, and it's always been one of my favorite sad covers. It is. He says it is. Okay, just a total wild guess, buddy.
Just put that up for you. And
that's
boss,
not a wild guess. That's a well-educated guess.
Yeah, that's a wise old owl guess.
J.D. Lewis.
J.D. Lewis just walked through the door, boss.
Hey, J.D. Lewis.
Hey, JD.
That's a ridiculous too much time on his hands geek guess is what it was.
No, I just love it. I just absolutely love it. Just geeking down hard.
Geeking it out there. Yeah, Dig Giordano cover. Exactly. The great Hungry Boy. You know, absolutely.
Hungry Boy is just all brain. I don't even think he has a body. He's just a brain in an orb in Oz. And
he's a brain. What is brain?
He's a triskelion.
He is. Yeah.
He's a gamester.
How many
of
Quatloos do you want to guess?
100 Quatloos.
Yeah,
100 Quatloos are the newcomers. That's true. New Orleans has a place called Lucky Dogs. Well, I'm not going to put that on the screen. Well,
yeah, don't.
Too late now.
Don't
Too late now. Vomit. Well, you can say what the hell.
I do like that Hungry Boy brought up the fact that Mark showed us his strange onion mush that looks like, alien onion mush baby food.
Oh, it's delicious.
And then
so
Hungry
good.
Boy brought up his nasty white sauce and clam pizza. Just
there's no white sauce. Let's be clear. There's no white. The pizza is just garlic and oil and clams and parsley. Yeah, it's not. There's no sauce on that pizza.
We love
it's a white
teasing
pizza.
you.
I know. I can tell.
You have good taste in everything, except for you eat like a New Yorker.
Someday you'll hopefully visit here and take you out to White Clam Pizza. You'll be like, gee, that Mark D guy, he was right. That is an awesome pizza. But
no, clams look like tongues. Have you ever seen like a clam thirsty or hungry reaching out of its shell? It looks like a big, long, pink tongue. It's
but you don't eat that part.
I will never eat a clam.
You don't eat that
a clam
part.
will never cross my lips. No, Mark D. No.
No lobster for you?
No,
would you do lobster?
It's like eating veins. You know what? I don't mind. I like king crab. King crab is juicy and sweet and beautiful, and it doesn't smell nasty. But like lobster, it's like eating sinew or brains or something.
No,
and
lobster
clams,
meat.
it's like tongues.
Lobster meat is just like crab meat. Actually, the king crab. Yeah, it's the same. Yeah, the lobster's the same. Yeah.
Yeah, and Mazarus was complaining earlier on this week about that stupid viral video of the guy taking his dirty, nasty hands, like just plain hands, opening up a bag of cookies and then touching raw pork like bacon, rolling up Oreos and then deep frying them until the bacon was fully cooked.
Wow, what in the hell?
Right? Mazarus and I were like, that's disgusting.
Why would you? Good Lord.
And I know, but when the guy was done with the bacon, he just left the cookies there. So you know how you can like get a tapeworm from pork, and you can get really
he cross-contaminated
illness from pork. He was just like rando style touching the cookies. Maze and I, we had like hardcore dry heaves. We were like, ugh, who would eat that?
Mm-hmm.
Americans like America. We love frying everything, right? Deep frying everything.
Sorry, buddy. Noise.
Oh, Ezra Goldstein just busted me. Yeah, I'm totally busted. And the reason why is he knows I'm Canadian. Yes, I have had clamato juice. We have clamato juice up here instead of tomato juice in our beer. So Ezra Goldstein, you have busted me. I have had clamato juice before. But there are no big, nasty pink tongues in it, Ezra.
Is it made with clams? That sounds like gross. What's clamato juice? Wow.
Yeah. And calamari, I love Chris Persia. I love calamari. But the steak that you get in Greece.
Do you like the extra tentacles? That's like Bart Simpson ordered?
No, I like the steak. I like the steak style.
Remembers the Simpsons the first season. They go to the fish place. Like, what was it? Krusty's? I can't remember. Krusty's Fish House or something. There's a funny name. And he's like, I'll have the squid with extra tentacles. And then like they bring the plate out and it's all moving and Bart like gets sick looking at it. Yeah.
It's like gah.
Yeah, it did look like gah, actually. Yeah.
Gah. Gah is best when served live. Let's see here. Hey, he's using 15-yard penalty for using a one of my favorite Three Stooges jokes. I'm having baked toast and a rotten egg. Baked toast and a rotten egg? Hey, what's that for? I got a tapeworm and it's good enough for him.
Luckily, right? Fried calamari is very good, but so is the stick style that they serve in Greece. It's just absolutely delicious. Guess who's here? We haven't seen him in so long. I hope he's well and he's been missed
He
and
was here
he's
last night.
loved. Dark Shadow Logan.
It was with us last night. Good to see you,
Yeah, hey,
man.
Dark Shadow. Yeah.
Oh my
back.
God, honey, I haven't seen you in forever.
Hey, buddy. Hope you're doing well, man. Part of the cabal. Here we go. Now we're gonna hear from
Yep.
we're gonna hear from Eric with the cabal like he did last night. No, D-Bud's not here. You can't. But D-Bud's out there in spirit. So yeah. Anyway. Oh yeah, I love that Three Stooges joke there, Pat S. Well played. Well done.
Well played. Well played.
Yes. Let's see here. What are these little? Should we take a look at these? Whatever these pictures you got for us, Raquel?
So I uploaded these pictures to the stream.
Go ahead and add whichever one you want to add.
You can. Okay, I'll just add.
If you want to.
Okay, so can
So
anybody
those
tell me
are the-
what this is?
Yeah, that's the jellyfish life forms from Encounter at Farpoint.
Right. You are absolutely right. And
What are they doing in my ceiling?
look at this. So, I haven't put it up yet. This is a picture of the box, like on the box. And then this is the picture from Home Depot, which is where I purchased this light. And today I'm shopping away, and I see this light and I stop and I'm like, oh my God,
I like that.
Encounter at Farpoint.
Wow.
So I
I was
take
just
this picture.
kidding.
No, that's exactly what happened. So I text my husband on WhatsApp. I walkie-talkie him a photograph, and he's like, "Oh my God!" And I started sending him multiple expletives, and I'm like, "This is the coolest light I've ever seen in my life. Can you put it in our bedroom?" And he's like, leave it to my wife to bring home some sort of egg incubation chamber from an alien world and put it on our ceiling in our bedroom. So I thought you all would have a good laugh on that. I still haven't
Nice.
put the crystals on yet, but he just installed it just before we got on air. And just, isn't it beautiful? I'm going to look up at
Love
this
it.
every night. And it's just, it's an alien
hope Q
egg
doesn't show up, though.
incubation chamber.
Well, don't you have a
Love
robot
it.
alien too? That would go well with your robot alien, right? Or you
I have a
Yes, you do.
6'1" or 6'2" full Area 51 animatronic alien in my office, and I have one that is about 4 feet tall downstairs in my Star Trek entertainment room. So, but yeah, I sent, when I first met Clobby like 2.5 years ago, before we even streamed together, I sent him a video of it, and I thought, this man's gonna think I'm completely whack. So I put it in full demo mode, and so it showed all the different programs that the animatronic, the large guy has, and I had it on live in my office, and yeah, I was like, I hope this man still likes me afterwards. He's probably going to think
I'm not too weird, right? Yeah.
Not
Not
right.
weird enough.
I'm not one to judge people by what's in their office. So
Yeah, I have
Not weird
I
enough.
have a 7-foot fully animatronic, hairy, like fully furry werewolf in my entertainment area as well. I have, foosball table, a pool table, a theater room, and that's where Wolfie is. That's his name, Wolfie, and that's where the little alien is. But the big alien, the Area 51 dude, he's in my office, and I'm sure
So
my
give
neighbors
people the
think I'm
tour.
whack.
here's my alien. Here's my Wolfie. Here's my little alien. Yeah.
Yeah, and then all my Star Trek posters. So I look like a ripe lunatic.
Love it.
So
that is perfect.
that was my show and tell, boss.
That's very cool. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's very funky.
But let's
We
just
have
show it one more time. Look at this. Oh
Sure.
yeah, that's gonna be on my.
It looks like it's
ceiling. Isn't it
raining.
cool?
It looks
There's
like it's
Star
raining.
Trek.
Is it raining in that lamp?
No, but it fully looks like water, doesn't it?
Doesn't it's like that all the time, or
Yeah.
with that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Here, I'll show it one more
Interesting.
time. Just one more time.
No, I thought it was like
Oh,
you got rain
yeah.
come down on it or something.
Love it. I love that.
Surfing with the alien.
Yes,
I
Chris
have-
Bergia, 7-Foot Werewolf, because I absolutely love gothic horror. So I like to the feeling that we're about to be scared, but then I like to back completely away from all of the gore and all of the violence that I don't like. So I like to nestle up to the aura of gothic horror, the mood, the
The
scariness.
suspense,
Yes,
right?
and
Sure,
then
sure.
so much already happens in my own mind when it comes to this stuff because I read a lot that I just cannot stand the visual gore. I can't do it. So that's why I love Bram Stoker's Dracula. I've read it, probably 20 times. I love all gothic horror. You get close up to something scary, but you back away from
Yeah.
it because your imagination fills in all the blanks and you don't need the gore.
Yeah, you don't need all the
Love
body
it.
parts
No, great
flying
stuff.
everywhere.
I don't like it. Too scary.
Well, you know what's not scary?
What, boss?
I have an inspiring story to share that I picked up. Hello there, Michael Beacom.
Michael Beacom and Cassandra Beacom. Good evening, Beacom.
Hey, and Mazarus. Hello there. It's a little story. Well, you're a writer, of course, and I'm one at heart anyway. And I found this story to be very inspiring. It's a very short read that I will read it, that I picked up. I won't say the name of the author. It's an author I follow on Facebook and whom has worked I've liked and I've kept in touch. I once in a while exchange pleasantries with him. He's a nice feller. He wrote something that I like a lot. Anyway, are we ready?
Yes, we read.
Sure.
Okay. He says he entitles this little write-up "Never Give Up." That's what this is called. And he says, "My first book contract was with Double Play. 4 science fiction books, any subject I wanted. I wrote and published the first 3: Killer Bowl, A Generation Removed, The Resurrectionist. For the 4th, I wanted to write something completely different, something that incorporated my boyhood loves for cartoons. My boyhood loves cartoons, comic books, and noir mysteries. After 2 years of research and writing, I produced Who Censored Roger Rabbit? That's Gary Wolfe, who wrote the book Who Censored Roger Rabbit in the 70s or 80s, I believe it was. He says, I sent Who Censored Roger Rabbit to Double Play as the final book in my 4-book deal. To my great surprise, they rejected my work. This marked the first time in my writing career that I have ever gotten a reject. I asked my editor why she had rejected what I thought was my best book ever. She said personally she loved it. She loved the work. However, the book was so unlike anything I had ever written before, unlike anything anybody had ever written before, that she felt compelled to send it to the marketing department. They were the ones who rejected it. I called the head of the marketing department. I asked him why he had rejected my work. He said that unfortunately there was no category for it on the bookstore shelves. It wasn't a traditional mystery, not really a general novel, not a children's book, not true science fiction. He said they couldn't sell my book. I asked him, what would he have done? What would he do if somebody today gave him Alice in Wonderland or Gulliver's Travels or The Wizard of Oz? He said, he thought for a moment and said, I couldn't sell those either.
Yeah.
So, let's see. I lost my place. Hang on. All right, okay. I was heartbroken. I told my agent that if I couldn't sell this book, I didn't want to be a writer anymore because this was the kind of story I wanted to write. He told me not to worry, that we would find the book a home. He started sending the book to other publishers, sometimes to multiple editors at the same publisher. Along the way, Who Censored Roger Rabbit got rejected 110 times.
Wow.
Always for the same reason. There was no category for this on bookstore shelves. Although a few publishers came up with another reason to turn me down. They thought nobody would understand a story about a private eye and a talking rabbit. In those days, rejects came by mail. My wife took to calling my daily trip to the mailbox the daily disappointment because I would always come back with 1, 2, 3, once even 6 reject letters.
Wow.
On the 111th submission, the book crossed the desk of an editor at St. Martin's who had just published a major bestseller for them. She was given a vanity project. She could publish any book of her choice. She chose Who Censored Roger Rabbit. Although, when she showed the book to the president of the company, he reneged. He said he knew he had promised she could publish any book, but she couldn't publish this one because he couldn't sell it. She stepped up to the plate and said, "Publish this book or I quit." They published the book, although in very small quantities, less than 5,000 copies. The book was incredibly well received and swiftly sold out. A few months later, I got a call from Disney asking if I'd be interested in having them turn my book into a movie. The rest is history. Who Censored Roger Rabbit went through 16 printings in paperback. There has been a book club edition, a limited collector's edition, an audio book, and finally a reprint. When I wrote the sequel novel, Who Plugged Roger Rabbit, 16 publishers bid for the rights to publish it. All of them had rejected the first book once. Six of them had rejected it, the first book, twice, and 2 of them had rejected it, the first book, 3 times. The lesson here: if you believe in what you're doing, never give up. Sooner or later, you will succeed. If you want to read the book, blah, 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 it just goes on talking about the book. And of course, he doesn't even mention how it became one of the most famous movies of all time.
Right.
One of my favorite movies, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I thought people might find that inspiring. I sure did.
I find it
Interesting.
inspiring, especially because I live in a country where, people really aren't interested in short stories. And, short stories are an American tradition. And I don't know what I would do without my American friends. Nobody is publishing science fiction short story or short story collections here in Canada. It's pretty heartbreaking. But let's say hello to Philbo Baggins, Pleasant Valley Picker, BC, JT
Really?
Kirk, and Grim.
And the great Maddie's daddy.
He's shopping right now.
What's up, buddy?
Grocery shopping. Yep.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. And only thing else I have right now is Tripwire. If you want to do that, get that out of the way.
Do you want to do Tripwire, or do you want to do
we could do Orville first if you want.
Yeah, let's do Orville.
I have really not much to say about it, but I want you to say anything you want to say about it, folks. We've on the Orville the past 2 weeks. I've been so upset with it. I didn't even count down to it last night, but I did watch it. I didn't hate this. I didn't think this episode didn't piss me off like the previous 2. It felt kind of weird. I kind of liked it, and now I'm thinking about a lot of the things that I've talked with a few people about. I don't know, but I'm a little queasy on it, so I don't care much about it, to be honest. But I know number 1 has things to say about it, and I want to hear those things. So, number 1, you take the floor, and this doesn't have to. It's episode 6 instead of 5, but what the hell?
Yeah, it is episode 6, but look at that beautiful art.
It's beautiful art by the great Chris Berger. Sorry, Chris.
This is why we were late today, because I was showing this artwork to the boss, and he just absolutely loved it. And so he should. I love how he even did a little bit of a grayscale over the S in Clobbering Times. And
thank you, buddy.
That's just such a wonderful detail. I love it. So everyone should know I canceled Disney Plus. The only reason why I was watching Disney Plus is because of the Orville. It's the only way to get it in Canada, because in Canada we don't have Hulu. So last night I watched episode 6 through a friend, and then I walkie-talkied the guys until, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning here, Mountain. So for the guys, it was really early in the morning. I think Mark already went to bed because he had to get up at about the same time to go and open his business. So I just wanted to say that, this time around, it's not quite as, dangerous to talk about this episode. You're not going to get death threats, and people aren't going to, threaten to harm you. Hey, Diesel's here, and so is Tim's Talk. Everybody say hi to Diesel and Tim's Talk. So, without all of that scary stuff standing in the way, I think it's safe to talk about episode 6. We're seeing some character development with Charlie. So I think Charlie's going to be coming out on the show. I thought it was interesting and kind of offensive that Lamar and Tala had sex in public. Not only did they have sex in public, but they had sex at work in public. And they were on a military starship. So I found that to be odd. I found it problematic that Gordon stalked the girl from the time capsule. I thought that that was pretty weird. I found that kind of upsetting because, for better or for worse, you live your life. And when last we checked in on this young woman from the time capsule, she went on to marry the other guy. And so for Gordon to go back and start meddling with her life, I thought was really sad, especially having children with her. And I thought that was a real mess, and I thought it was really super creepy. Out of all the women who he could meet and start a life with, why did he go to the time capsule girl? I mean, I've dropped things in a time capsule, and I sort of think to myself, wow, imagine if somebody just decided to erase my husband and my offspring because he just wanted to be with me and have kids with me himself. So I thought that was really strange that they made Gordon do that because I love Gordon. And so I thought it was rather disgusting. The girl already had her own life with another man, and Gordon prevented that. And then they
Oh, should we
acted
put up
very.
the spoiler? There, you got the spoiler.
Yeah, I
sorry.
put it up. I'm sorry. I totally forgot. I had to run off and get some
No, yeah.
take my aspirin, and I forgot to put the spoiler alert up there. So
Oh,
it's up there
sorry.
now. Apologies to anyone who may have got a spoiler, but from now on, when this thing's off, we'll be unspoilery.
Yes.
Unspoilery.
And I also thought, so anyways, that whole time capsule thing, I know a lot of people are upset, or I guess I'm hearing through the grapevine because I don't really watch YouTube unless Clobby's on it. But, or, I like J-Man show and I like Jill show. Like, I love all your guys' shows. It's just hard for me to watch geek stuff. Anyways, I guess the word is that people are pretty upset about the two children that Gordon had being erased. But what, as a person who was reviewing the show on Orville Nation in the first and second season, I'm taken aback by the fact that Gordon took someone's life away from her and rewrote her life so that he could be in it. And I thought that was really super creepy. And I thought their behavior was cold and calculated, and I didn't like it. I also think it's very strange that Kelly suggested that they drink 78 ounces of 86 proof alcohol. And, that's what, if you're Canadian, you call it a 2.6. In the United States, I don't know what you guys call it, but just a 26 ounce of booze.
A lot. We just call it a lot.
A lot. And here we call it a 2.6er. Imagine you meet a girl that's about 140 pounds and she should suggest that you drink 326ers with her of 86 proof alcohol. And that's just me guessing that it's whiskey. I mean, it could be higher than 86 proof. But I thought it's weird because, this show has never introduced the idea of synthahol. They're very open about the fact that they're drinking real alcohol.
Right.
So I thought that was weird because people should know that if you drank 78 ounces of alcohol between three people, all three of those people would likely die. And you can't drink a 2.6 of booze to yourself without dying. And
hey,
so
PJ.
I thought that was really, really weird. And I didn't like it. So,
hey, PJ. Sorry.
Hey, so I guess what I'm trying to say is I will keep on watching the show through other people, but I'm very happy that we announced that I will no longer be covering because I feel uncomfortable discussing topics that people are making death threats over on social media. So I won't discuss it when when it gets into the death threat, crazy, polarized politics stuff. But I will say this. This episode proves that the Orville has gone in a completely different direction. It's never going to be season 1 and season 2 ever again. There's no coming back from it. This episode was less than what we saw in episode 5, but certainly not better. We have all this interpersonal stuff going on, very little science fiction, and some really problematic behaviors that no one should support. It's just not a good idea. And what did you think of the episode, Mark?
Yeah, I mean, I liked this episode overall. I thought it took a hard, a hard take on what could happen. To preface, I hate time travel stories. I'm sick to death of them. Kind of
God,
Captain
time
Cock and
travel.
Spock.
Yeah.
I'm just so sick to death of time. In general, not picking on the Orville here. Star Trek mainly has been, dealing with that. And of course, we might get that in 2 of the next movies that you're going to review this week. It might be some time travel in that one too.
Yeah.
So I'm just, I don't mind a good, time travel movie. Of course, Back to the Future, of course, the classic H.G. Wells. But
Doctor Who's the best.
Yeah, well, Doctor Who, but the whole show is based
That's
on
about
time travel. So that's,
right.
yeah. But I did like, you make a great point about the time capsule lady. I think you bring up an interesting point that I hadn't thought of. I mean, most people just thought he was, in my point of view, I just thought he was so lonely and had been there for 3 years. And I think it just showed how human the character could be, where he said he was alone for 3 years, was breaking the rules, eating animals, and which is, fun aside. And he broke down, and he actually violated, his oath, just to stay there. And he had that. I thought Grimes, Scott Grimes' acting in this role was really well done. Because you felt it exactly. Yeah, you felt his emotion, and he said, those regulations are there. I don't agree with them, but he said, they've never had to live it. So that part I thought was really poignant. That end of the episode where he's pleading with Ed, like, "Don't do this to me, don't do this." And it was kind of a flip on Sitting on the Edge of Forever in some ways. It had that vibe to it, where of course Ed has to make the decision. Of course, it's a lot easier for going back in time again, because he doesn't know any of this pain that he experienced. But I thought it illuminated a lot of what what he went through. Imagine having a family and 2 a wife and 2 kids, or a kid on the way, I should say. And
Yeah,
you don't
but
know what's
I want you to think about what it would be like. Like, you're a pretty prominent member in your community. You're an upstanding citizen. You're in service to your community quite a lot. You're a very kind man. You do a lot of things for charity, and you're really working to make your community a better and a safer place. You're involved. You're civically engaged. Well, imagine if somebody came to you and said to you, Mark, we want to put your cell phone in a time capsule. And then years in the future, some woman falls in love with your confessions that you made in college, and just thinks the world of you, and knows that you got married and had offspring, but does not care. This person just rolls back to that time when you were alone and completely erases your wife and your kids. And
that's
that's
a
what
fantastic point, because I never thought of it.
That's what Gordon did.
Yeah, no, I didn't even think of it until you just mentioned. I just thought, I assumed he was lonely, and he looked her up. I mean, that's a brilliant point. Point B would be, how cute is she? No, just kidding.
Yeah, we are guys after all. But no, you're right. That's
no, but that's a brilliant.
That's
a brilliant point. That I never, that's why I love talking to you, and that I never thought of that angle at all. Never,
I didn't either. I admit
to be honest, it never crossed my mind one time. But that is a great point to bring up. I mean, I hope he didn't. I don't know if I'd call it stalking, but you're right. Knowing that what the future holds for her, then he actually erased her family. I guess did she have kids in that?
Well,
I know she ended up with a guy, but you don't know.
They never explored it, but they
never
had,
explored it.
They
but
had
you would
some
assume
hard
they had
times
kids
when they were first getting together.
Yeah,
and
that was
so,
a really well done episode too.
Yeah, so to revisit it, but to make it so that he exploits the troubles that she's had in her relationship with that guy, and like basically he was her dream guy. That's the way they make it in the episode, where she was like completely destroyed that they broke up. And when they got back together again, of course, Gordon was crushed. But the reality of it is that, you know, they got back together again and they made a life together. And we don't find out how that plays out. But I just think it's super creepy because, you know, I'm an author. So I'm not really watching this as just purely as a viewer. I'm watching it as an author, and I'm just wondering what would make someone write something like this. Like, I think it's super creepy to like say, okay, well, before we had her getting back together again with this guy and living her life, and now Gordon has just decided that because he knows about her because she was in a time capsule, so now she's like this public figure, he can roll back her life to a point where he can manipulate her entire future and have her for himself. I think it's morally bankrupt. I think it's as disgusting as the public sex scene with Lamar and Tala.
I'd be willing to bet you that whoever wrote it didn't even think about what you did. They're not a thinker like you. Hey, Larry. Again, I have no way of knowing that naturally, but I would speculate that was not considered. I mean, that again, by the way, but do we know from that previous episode that she went on to get married and have another? I mean, obviously she went on to live her life without him there in that alternate, in that original timeline. So,
well, he could, he could have. Well, of course, it's kind of like a Prince Charming rolling in, where you know everything that the person likes, and you've got that you've got her innermost thoughts, so you've got that upper hand knowledge in terms of courting someone. So, but of course,
so that's why I think it's creepy.
But do we know that she had been married and then he went and changed it?
Yes, she does. I'm almost 1,000% positive that she married.
I'm just asking. I don't remember.
Because I think one of the final scenes is he goes into their it's not a holodeck. What do they call it again?
Simulator.
Yeah. Their simulator.
Hey, Dave Bob.
Yeah. He goes into Dave Bob.
Hey Bob.
So he goes into the simulator. And I think it's the cafe scene, and the man who she's been in love with her basically for this, a very long period of time. They were together for 10 years or something like that.
Right.
He gets down on one knee and proposes, and she basically looks up at Gordon and says, like, he loves me. We worked it all out. Everything's going to be okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I just think it's weird. This kind of stuff, like, for me, I find it embarrassing that they're comparing this to Star Trek now, because there's no way Gene would ever allow something like that. That is El Creepo. And Kirk never did creepo stuff like that. Neither did McCoy, neither did Scotty. Scotty was almost killed because of his gentlemanly behavior and his honor and what a wonderful man he is. So why write Gordon as a creep? Why do that?
Well, I think also go ahead, Clobberin. Yep.
It's 2022. That's Hollywood morass, not morals, morass. But they think it passes for values and morals, but they haven't. And Hollywood's full of degenerates. Hate to be simplistic, folks. That's who writes these shows. Even if you like the show or whatever, that's what's writing these shows now. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what's come from.
Yep.
Well, the one thing I have to say though is when Ed and Kelly confront him, they immediately say they've got to arrest. You're going to be thrown in the brig, and they confront him, and they can't believe what he's done in that first scene. So at least from the Orville hierarchy point of view, they're not excusing what he did. They came in, they can't believe what he did, and he admits basically he lost it, and he couldn't handle being alone. So I thought that was a good confrontation too.
But
at least you didn't have.
Girl.
Yeah, well, he's not even supposed to find a girl. That's the thing.
If he finds any girl, he's
that's the first. Yeah, so I have the subtitles, but he said we ought to haul your ass to the brig right now, and he tells him to shut up. He's like, I'm not your lieutenant anymore. I'm not your helmsman. I'm not your crew.
Yeah, I mean, Gordon.
So that was a good scene.
Was suffering, but he still what he did does. I mean, I can look as bad as this thing was, as bad as Ed and Kelly were to him, and the way they were written. They were right. If he interacts with anyone, and certainly I'm just like getting married to someone, whether it was that woman or anyone else, he is changing things.
Mm-hmm.
He's not.
Yeah, no matter what he does. Yeah, no matter what he does. Yep.
Yeah. But
So
I
Phantom
still think that
is-
it's super creepy because
Oh,
it's like
he did stalk her. You're right.
it's
That's
like
even worse.
giving somebody your diary, and
Right.
that person reads the diary, and then they have the power to go back in time and manipulate it. And then, of course, Ed and Kelly start all of their tall talk about, you know, the time continuum or the temporal law and all of these other things, and that never gets addressed. This creepo guy who has this girl's diary and goes back to a time in her life right before her fiance, you know, apologizes to her and gets back together again with her and just decides, no, I want her for myself. I think it's creepy. I think it would have been far better if Gordon would have, you know, fallen in love with a girl, a wonderful
Well, you shouldn't
girl.
do that though.
And
Even
maybe
if he
she
still
was,
does it.
maybe she's crazy or something and hysterical. I mean, when you're a writer, you have the power to create anything within the box, like anything anything within the confines of the walls of the page or the walls of the celluloid, the walls of the film. You can create whatever you want there. So I just think that it's a very odd message to send, that you can be privy to somebody's intimate, most private life and go back and erase that life as though it didn't exist. I thought that was weird.
Well, he's breaking the law in multiple ways. And Phantom
Mhm.
posts, he said, in the new episode, Gordon reconnects with her in 2018. That's 3 years after her cell phone was donated. When Gordon meets her again in 2018, she is again single and broken up with Greg again. So I'm not sure.
That's true. But
So I mean, she, I thought the way the episode ended with it's been 3 years since I watched it, but that she decided to get married. But yeah, it's much better if they had said that she
I'm not sure I
up,
buy
but
that math. Sorry.
but even either way, he's not supposed to get
confirm
involved
or
with that.
deny
He's not supposed to get involved with anyone
Mhm.
in the
that
past. And I
still
think
doesn't
that was
change that he stalked her either. By the way,
Yes, exactly, right?
even if
well,
that
he
were
went
true.
to meet her, but I guess he felt a connection to her, and
People
I
were
don't know.
doing this same game, these same word games of guessing stuff that is true and not true when they were talking about how old Topa is. Topa should be 3 years old, and they're like, "Oh, but she's Mocklin, so maybe she's 8, maybe she's 9." Like, I was glad that when Chris Persia, who I trust, and he went and checked it out, and apparently she's supposed to be 8 or 9, but in the episode they were calling her an adolescent, so basically saying
Yeah.
that she was like, there were people online on social media calling her 12 and 14 and 16, and this is a character that was born 3 years ago. And when asked, Seth MacFarlane said only a year has passed. So how much are the fans going to fill in for the poppycock being put on film?
Yep. They just decided that Mocklin's aged like that so they can use it for a dumb story.
Yeah.
That's all they did. Yeah.
Just to tell them, for the agenda, they sacrificed credibility. There is a military. What's that word that we always God, he likes so much? They sacrificed credibility of story to have that little Topa episode when Topa should be 3 years old. Of course, Topa, and they were setting it up because in the season 2 when Topa. I think, or not, was it season 2 or was it season or earlier in the season? Topa was a lot. I think they showed Topa in some in second season ones as well, didn't they? Hello, Brian Hepburn.
I think they did a little bit. Yeah.
There are so many good
reverse
comments
Grover.
in the
Older.
chat right now that I can't put them all up, but like Dave Bob, Pleasant Valley Picker, Diesel, all these people are just flooding the chat. Michael Beacom just flooding the chat with just such great comments. I love you guys. Keep them all going. I don't have time for all of them, but I had to interrupt and interject and say that, you guys, these comments, I'm reading every single one of them. This is great conversation. Please continue. I'm watching. I'm participating.
Maddie's daddy is not. We're just talking a little bit about Orville. It won't be the whole show.
Yeah, please come back. Yep.
Yeah.
In fact, we'll be talking about. We'll mention Thor later if you want. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
Hey, Larry!
Yeah, Larry's.
No, it's just Larry.
I know,
Larry,
but
Larry,
I always say it's
Larry.
Couldn't help
Larry,
it.
because
Larry,
twice
Larry,
is never
Larry,
good as
Larry.
thrice.
That's right.
Well, I did like the stuff with Charlie and Isaac.
Isaac,
I liked,
that was kind of fun.
and I like what I really liked was that Charlie didn't. And a lot of TV shows they would go, "Oh, that's okay. I love you, Isaac." Now, they didn't have that quick resolution. So same thing with Topa. Like if they had the show had lasted 7 seasons and they dealt with that issue, maybe after been on the air for 7 years and then finally you've got a more believable age for the kid. So I like that there was no quick fixes here. I liked how Scott Grimes portrayed. How horrible you could feel how horrible he felt at the end. Like Ed, Ed, don't do this to me. And he's like, we'll see you again soon. And that was just heartbreaking. A heartbreaking scene.
Well, 1 second, if you don't mind. Dave Bob, you're scaring the hell out of me. I'm with you on the Orville, but Strangled Dead Worms is a piece of garbage. There's nothing to like about any of that at all. Even though Orville is fallen to us. Don't get sucked into the Strangled Dead Worms thing. The show's horrible. Yeah. Come on, man, you're better than that. Oliver Belamonte, what's up? Says, go ahead, Mark. By the way,
I just think that was a really poignant scene, and I think that was, of course, this is no City on the Edge of Forever, but it had that vibe to it where of course Harlan Ellison was so brilliant in that, and of course we know you're not going to get into the controversy about Gene and. The rewriting of the script to make it actually work on TV, but got to give him credit for that idea, obviously, and that's just such a brilliant thing. Of course, we've seen it done before in many movies and many, but that's just such a heartbreaking thing. He's saying, don't, if you have any shred of decency, please don't do this. Don't take my family away from me. And he knows he shouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
But he can't. You wonder if he's going to shoot that phaser, the blaster, and he doesn't. He doesn't. He's pointing it, and he
has no morals.
And he's got no morals. So
it makes us not like Gordon anymore, and it just seems like that's the entire tone of the show. So like now we have Charlie, and she hates Isaac, even though Isaac offed himself as penance for what happened. And it wasn't his fault until that part of his programming was destroyed, done away with, or overcome. And now we have Lamar and Tala, like literally having sex at work, like in public.
Well, they did kiss, so you don't know that they.
Come on, Mark.
They cut the scene off. They're all over
I've got to cover my eyes.
Come on, let's not be ridiculous here. They had sex in public at work, moaning and groaning on a military starship. And then you've got Gordon stalking this girl, and it's super dark because he's an El Creepo rewriting her life. And then we have to deal with the fact that the 2 new kids that he made under this new timeline have to also be, undone or killed. And then we've got Kelly, who has this ongoing storyline that she is a heavy drinker, suggesting to drink 78 ounces. She says 3 bottles of 86 proof alcohol. That's what generally the proof of whiskey is. And she weighs 140 pounds. She'd be dead. Like the guy from Def Leppard, like Jimi Hendrix, like every person who ever drank a 2-6 by themselves.
Yeah.
Like,
unfortunately, yeah.
This is not the show it was in episode 1 and episode 2. And anybody who says that it is kidding themselves. They live in a delusional world. This show is no longer like Star Trek. It's not good. I'm not enjoying it. It's not science-y. What did we get this season? We got the spider people. That's the only science we've had so far. And all the rest of it has been interpersonal stuff, talking about
a lot
politics,
of soap opera shite.
Orange Man bad, all sorts of bad stuff. Everything's negative. This is nothing like Star Trek anymore.
Dave, Bob, only if you insist. Talking about Strange New Worlds makes me almost as depressed as talking about what's happening to the Orville. But I appreciate you, brother. I'm just messing with you, man. Strangled Dead Worms, I mean.
Well, that does mess up Gordon's character too. I mean, and then they come back, and well, of course they rescue him at the proper timeline. And of course, why did they even try to seek him out in this timeline too? Right? Why did they knew they had enough dilithium crystals to go back? Why even bother? Just just go all the way back. So yeah, you do mess up Gordon's character, and of course, then they tell him when he comes back. So
he's like, "Oh, really? Wow, that's funny."
so they tell him about what he did. It's like, why did they even tell him that he did all this too? So that part I didn't like. I did like the using the theory of relativity to travel close to the speed of light to advance through time. I thought that was pretty nice touch that they figured that out, and because I guess they explained that they had with their quote unquote, it's not a warp bubble, but with the shielding on the ship, it helps protect, so you don't age rapidly. So they explained that, which is pretty interesting. So I thought that was a nice touch. But I'm just sick to death of time travel in general, and I think unfortunately they.
But Albert Einstein said that we would never be able to break the speed of light. So,
well, they went 9.9998 if on the graphic. So they said they went.
But I'm no astrophysicist. I'm not even a physicist. But I'm no astrophysicist. But I don't understand why anyone would bring up Albert Einstein when Albert Einstein never thought we would ever be able to achieve that. And there are physicists who believe that we can create this warp bubble thing.
Yeah.
There was a presentation on it at my planetarium. But like breaking the speed of light is or even coming close to breaking the speed of light is, that to me isn't sciencey, because the first thing I start thinking of is, okay, well, at the planetarium, they said that will never be possible, but we might be able to do it this way. So I didn't find that.
Well, the part is true about time traversing different rates. They've proven that with astronauts and chronometers in orbit. I mean, it's the differences are so microscopic, but so they have proven that. So Lamar says, hey, let Einstein take care of the rest. So of course, we're a science fiction show where of course you can travel by necessity you have to be able to travel faster than light, or I guess have a wormhole effect. But so I thought that was a nice personally for me that was a nice at least nice
it doesn't work for me because
touch.
The first thing I start thinking of is all the criticisms about the fact that Einstein said that even if there were parallel universes, there would be no way for us to be able to ascertain that, because we would not be able to exist in parallel universes and things like that. So for me, like, it's okay if they brush up against this stuff sometimes in sci-fi, but if they start getting into this weird stuff where it's like, well, we'll do this so that broken up space junk won't shatter every bone in our body and destroy our ship, and I don't know, like, it's just I don't find it compelling science, because it's not hard science. So if you're going to do hard science, you have to do hard science. And I wouldn't go to the person who said it was impossible. I would go to the person who said it was possible and use their jargon, use their method of operation, not to the person who's shouted from the rooftops that will never be attainable. So I respect your take, but for me, it doesn't work.
Yeah, well, that's his theory. I mean, that's his theory that the way time, way we age, or way time passes. So I guess they kind of have to, even and for me, that's just, you've got to kind of hey, I'm no Einstein, but you got to, the show, any of these sci-fi shows with interstellar travel won't work unless they figure out some kind of way to break that law. But I just
but now that we know this, we've broken the show, right? Because now that we've done this, we've broken the show. Because now the Kalons, why haven't the Kalons figured this out? All the Kalons need to do to go back and get rid of all people now is to make sure that they shut off this and they do that, and then it'll be fine.
Well, I was gonna say because Captain Picard foiled them in First Contact. But no, but that's true. Once you open up this, that's why I can't stand time travel, because once you open up this time travel, loophole or bubble or whatever you want to call it, then it's just so many plot holes can take place. So maybe if you had an accidental time travel where that Enterprise gets slingshotted back, and like they did in that. And which episode was that where they get slingshotted back in time?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing. Maybe it once up, but once. Yeah, thank you. But once you once you can time travel will, and the end of the episode was weak too in terms of the Kalon. Like, where are the Kalon, or why aren't they trying to go after the Orville again? Or I guess because the Orville really didn't disappear for that long, right? When you think it's all relative, right? So even though they travel to the past, but then they're coming back, at the same time that they left. So warrant the Kalon there. But overall, I like the emotion, the acting of the episode. But unfortunately, Raquel, you bring up some great points, which I can't say I disagree with, and that's why I love hearing your take on things, because it's so illuminating. Like Clobbering Time said, probably the writer didn't even think that would have been creepy.
Total speculation on my part.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm a
speculation, but yeah.
professional editor in real life, and I trained in university for that. I'm just wondering where the editor is on this show. I drag on Jerry Taylor, and I say, why didn't you edit this out? Why didn't you have a discussion about this? The science fiction attracts educated people. It's academic people. It attracts geeks and nerds. A lot of academic people watch science fiction and read science fiction, and a lot of normies find it boring. So you have to be careful when you start writing your show for normies, and your show is science fiction, because eventually the geeks and the nerds are going to come, and the geeks and the nerds are going to have questions, and they think in a different way. They have a much deeper way of thinking about things. They have more knowledge about the topic than the average person. And so, you have to have a cleanup on aisle 5. And in season 1 and season 2, we had a beautiful, hopeful, inspiring, wonderful adventure with these people. And in the 3rd season, all I'm seeing is a whole bunch of interpersonal BS, a lot of Maury Povich, some Jerry Springer, and very little science fiction. And if you're going to try it at hard science fiction, you better make sure that you get your hard science fiction right. You have to do what Gene Roddenberry did. And that is, when you're on the set of TMP, you say, somebody call Isaac Asimov. And Isaac Asimov and some other guy from NASA are on the phone, and they're saying, yeah, this is how a wormhole, this is how this would happen. This is exactly how this would happen. This is how you describe it. And then they proceeded to create that scene in TMP. It's not that hard to do. So if I'm going to bust Jerry Taylor's chops for it, and I'm going to be so hard on the corporate writers from season 3 in TOS, you're damn right I'm going to do it to these people too. And on top of it, they've completely changed the tone of the show. It's like a completely different show. And I don't like it anymore. It sucks.
It does feel very different. Last night I thought felt a little bit better than, I guess I was just so pissed off about the previous 2 weeks that I thought I don't know. It didn't bother me as much, but you point out a lot of things that do bother me. And I'm adaptable to things that, to new information. And I haven't watched it again. I really have no interest in watching it again. That's a bad thing for me. By the way, Cardinal Sin, thank you so much for the 999 super sticker. Good to see you, buddy. Cardi, always a pleasure. Thanks for being here, man. But yeah, I don't have much to say about it. I mean, I thought, again, I didn't have things about it rubbed me the wrong way, but I didn't form much of an opinion watching it last night, and I don't have a good vibe about it. I didn't have a good vibe about it. I thought it was okay, and then. Now I don't know what I think. I don't even want to review it. I want you guys to talk about it. I don't care. They have killed my enthusiasm for this show. And just because, take it easy, Dave Bob. Good to see you, buddy.
Good night, Dave Bob. Thank you for being here.
Just because an episode doesn't piss me off as much as the other two, that should not be a basis for excusing it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, when you're thinking about how they're doing these scenes, imagine you're on set and somebody's discussing these scenes. We have the Charlie is going to come out scene. We have the Lamar and Tala having sex in public at work scene. We have Gordon stalks a girl from a time capsule. And we have the closing scene where Kelly suggests that the best way for them to deal with it is not to share a bottle of whiskey amongst the 3 of them, but for each of them to have a 2-6. It's just these are the major pullout scenes. These are the major themes behind this episode, and that to me does not scream science fiction. And we've got this wonderful comment from Diesel just before we get away and I give up the floor. He says, by the way, a lot of times science fiction is a precursor to science fact. Diesel, I would you and I just met, but I wanted you to know that I'm a communications and technology scholar, and what you're discussing is futurism, and it is absolutely beautiful. It's when science fiction is written so well that people with the power to put the guts into the dreams wind up creating technology, and so we call it futurism. And so Cooper is in my master's thesis, where we talk about how Cooper was giving interviews saying when he saw Captain Kirk with that communicator, the first thing he thought of is, I'm going to make that. And that's how we wound up with the cell phone. So it is quite a beautiful thing when you create true science fiction, where you're talking about technology, and how we're going to deal with it. When we're talking about going to other places, and how we're going to develop the technology to go to other places. And when we're talking about making alien contact, these are all things that human beings grapple with. And that is the purpose of science fiction, to bring all of these things to bear, to help us through our anxieties, and also to help us to dream, not only of innovation, but of invention. And that is pure futurism, one of the most beautiful things about science fiction. I love your comment. I love you being a part of this community. Thank you so much, Diesel.
Well, and again, as Hunger Boy kind of handled it, but yes, your question, JT Kirk, he was wondering which was creepier, Geordi with Dr. Brahms thing or this. It's not even any contest really, because that was just a hologram, and what Gordon did, it was just way worse. And but I hear what you're saying. Oliver Belamonte is here. Hey there. Well, Oliver, says Clobby, Mark, Raquel. In Star Trek: The Original Series, Season 1, Episode City on the Edge of Forever, was Roddenberry in conflict with writer Harlan Ellison's dark tone ideas for the episode with Edith Keeler? Well, he didn't like them and he changed them, so I think you could safely say, yes, he was in conflict with them. Mm-hmm. They weren't in keeping with what Roddenberry had in mind for his show. They were his characters, and yes, he and with others, was it Gene Kuhn and Dorothy Fontana or whomever it was, but they definitely changed it to make it such a great episode. So yes, the answer, Oliver, is yes. Harlan just did his own thing, and they didn't think it worked for their show, which was absolutely right in my opinion. And Harlan didn't like it, but he never gave us Hugo back that he got for it either. So yes, a little bit of conflict there. It is safe to say, I think.
Yeah. Well, I
Harlan
think it's
got
really
along
hard.
with everyone.
Yes. Go ahead and finish that comment, because I have a follow up to that, Mark. I love that you were going to say that.
Yeah, I mean, he was known for being a very belligerent person, and I think sometimes some of the most creative people maybe don't fit behind standard. So I think that's what part of his genius too. There's no doubt he was a genius, but he, if you read his finally after Gene had died, he released the teleplay, and he wrote like a nasty, huge essay that you can look up or find in his book. trashing Gene and Dorothy Fontana, and at one point they had made up, I guess, in the middle of the 70s. And then after he said, "I far from be it for me to speak ill of the dead," I'm paraphrasing, and then he goes on this huge diatribe. So I think too, and you've said it, Clobby, too. You're playing in Gene Roddenberry's world, so you submit the story. Those are his characters, and
yes.
You're going to change the story to fit your characters, but the story was genius. So I mean, and it got tweaked. I guess he couldn't handle anyone tweaking anything of his story. So
well, Gene Roddenberry rewrote everyone's stories all the way up to Data Lore, except for that TOS third season when the Holy Trinity walked off set. They just said, "Look, we're not working with this corporation anymore." And so it's very important for folks at home to realize too that this happens with writers. I'm an author, and I have to wear the editor's hat a lot. And people come to me and they say, "Hey, should I write this?" And sometimes I have to tell them no. But what Gene was doing was very special. You submitted your short story to him, and then he turned it into a teleplay. He did a lot of rewriting. I have read in multiple sources, printed sources, not on the internet, but printed sources, that he was rewriting all of the stories until Data Lore. Like I said previously, except for the weird corporate third season of TOS. And so, he was doing that so that he could shape everything toward this idea of this beautiful utopia. And it's very easy for an author to get their nose out of joint because it's like, look, this is my baby. But at the same time, this isn't about Harlan Ellison contributing a story to an anthology, and and it should be, it should have complete fidelity on screen. That's not what the process is here. And people need to realize that when you have an IP that you're cultivating for television, it's very important that there is a cohesion and fidelity to the IP, not to the individual that is involved in the anthology. And certainly people should also know that what Mark is saying is not exaggerated. Harlan Ellison grabbed a woman by her breast accepting a Hugo Award. I mean, there's video of it on YouTube. It's difficult to write. Writers are crazy people, and so are editors, directors, and film people.
Harlan also did a lot of good, but he did a lot of bad. Like everybody, he was a nut in a lot of ways. Some things I admired about him, other things he was not a perfect individual, but he hey, the woke breaker, what's up?
Hey.
But he was a character. He was colorful. He was nice to me. He was nice to me the time I met him, and that's anecdotal, so it doesn't mean much, but I'm just saying. But still, so I guess we're done with that. I am, if you all are.
I am, boss.
I'll go, our good buddy Loki, I'll be on there with them in the morning with them, and I don't know if I'm going to have much to say about it then either. I don't think I want to, I mean, this is weird to me. Those past 2 weeks pissed me off so much. It probably made me numb, and I watched this episode, and no, to their credit, it wasn't about a political agenda for a change, but it was still, and therefore at first it kind of sucked me in a little bit. I'm like, it feels like it's just being an episode. It feels like it's just being an episode. Then when it's over, I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I think it was okay. And they've been told the guys at the Nerdporial stream, I was like, yeah, it was all right. But I kept thinking there was something nagging me. I didn't like something about the way it ended and some other things in it. But one of the things you've touched on a lot, Raquel, and again, we're not spoiling. We don't want to be spoilery, but just to say one other thing I will say about it is the soap opera stuff is unavoidable, or you called it the interpersonal stuff, or interpersonal relationships and whatnot.
Yeah,
we're stuck with that kind of writing forever now in all of TV or movies. It's there. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be 100%. We're never gonna get gone are the days for the probably of a show written like Star Trek: The Original Series, for example. As I always say, yes, there's drama sometimes. Yes, there's a romance sometimes. Yes, these things happen in human, but for the most part, it was always a science fiction story first. With these great characters, they were managed to juggle fleshing out and brilliantly writing their characters with those actors, and always in a compelling science fiction story.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, I'm not saying every episode's that way, but Trek at its best is what I'm talking about, and it's a lot of best. It's a lot of great stuff, and it was, like I said, it's almost an anthology with recurring characters. I know that's an oxymoron, but you know what I mean.
Yes, I do.
And
it's a strong sense of episodic telling where the focus is on
TV.
ideas and people encountering futurism in science fiction instead of encountering one another.
And that's over.
Yeah.
That's never gonna. That happened on not just Star Trek. It happened in almost all of old television. And at some point down the road, probably around the time that Star Trek: The Next Generation, which we just finished,
Deep Space Nine, yeah.
But before that, I'm talking about TV in general right now.
Yeah.
Right around the time The Next Generation just started out, TV, if you remember, almost all of that kind of stuff, the time with the interpersonal relationships or soap operas that were on in the daytime. And then what happened? They started with a show called Dallas, and it was like Dynasty. There was Knots Landing. There was a show here and there at prime time that was like that. Hill Street Blues. More and more shows started to pop up.
I had friends who watched that Melrose Place thing.
That stuff started to pop up.
I watched every episode of Melrose Place.
Before that, everything was like, Columbo and Star Trek: The Next Generation and the Rockford Files. There were episodic television. It died, but for a while, those serial television like that, if you will, for lack of a better term, started to slowly. Again, there was a little bit of it here and there. there were both types of series for the longest time, even throughout the 80s, but more and more they kept making the serialized TV shows as opposed to the episodic TV shows, even into the early 2000s. And after around 2000, I don't know, 12, 13, when maybe, there's almost all of episodic television died. I mean, they stopped making almost all of it, I think.
Yep.
I mean, I've not done any research. Just talking out of my ass here. Hey, Dave Rayburn, what's up, cuz? Good to see you, buddy. I'm saying that it looks like it's dead completely now, and it's all serialized TV. Not that there aren't many wonderful, fine shows. I know you like a lot of different shows, Mark and Raquel, both of you. And I'm not saying that makes the show bad. I'm saying almost pretty much everything now is that.
Yeah.
If you know of an episodic show, by the way, I love Cobra Kai. It's a serialized show. Serialized, I'm using that, if you'll excuse it just for expediency's sake, lack of a better term.
Yeah, it's okay. It's great.
As opposed to episodic.
Yep.
So
yeah, you got to watch it,
and
and you got to watch
everything.
it.
You got to watch every episode, right? Continuity, soap opera, interpersonal relationships, like Raquel talks about. We're stuck with that now, probably. I don't think we'll get episodic television again. I don't know. Maybe
you could read my stories. My stories are actually ideas and people encountering science fiction instead of encountering each other.
The Orville was closer to that for a while. The first 2 seasons, sure, there was continuity, but it was as close as you could probably get to an episodic show. Like, Strangled Nude Worms is a piece of garbage. It's trying to be episodic. It's just a bad show. So it doesn't matter. But that's what they're trying to get back to, because people were accusing, their other garbage of not being like Trek. Well, it just doesn't know how to be like Trek because it's written by morons. And it's garbage. And it's a piece of dog crap, everybody. Just making sure.
Well, oh my God, what they did to the Gorn was just.
Oh, boy.
God, my beloved Gorn.
Aside from that, though, I mean, name me an episodic TV show. Doctor Who used to be that way, and it's dead.
Yeah. It's because it's really hard. Like, I sound like a broken record, but people don't realize this. And I got to tell you guys, everybody acts like this is like a huge, complicated issue. It's not. It really is just that. It is incredibly difficult to write a very short bit of prose, very, very tight, short prose, only a couple of pages, sometimes only 1 page, where you tell a completely unique and immersive story that can stand alone all by itself. That is a lot of work, takes a lot of technique. Every single word is vital. It's precious, and you have to be inventive. The work doesn't come fast and furious. It's taken me 2 years to write this book. In 3 months, it will be 2 years that it took me to write this book. 10 full short stories, and it takes effort because you have to be unique, inventive, and the focus is on the ideas. It is so much easier to come up with some protracted social issue or relationship, use that as a far-flung arc, and then draw in a bunch of headlines so you can veil your opinion. That is so much easier than what I do. What I do is actually tell people stories, and it's hard. And these people in Hollywood don't want to do anything hard.
I found a pretty interesting article I could pop up talking about episodic TV.
Sure. And pop culture, I guess there may be some anthology shows out there. I just don't. I've heard of. I don't know of any off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's some.
Electric Dreams. Yeah, Electric Dreams is one of the most beautiful things that has ever been put on streaming ever. It's the whole reason why streaming should exist. Please watch Electric Dreams.
I think that's on Amazon streaming right now.
Well, Breaker, no major topic. We're just kind of going all over the place. We've been into a couple. We just got through with the Orville. We've talked about a few things. We might mention a couple of we do regular things on this show. Sometimes we just, we go all over the place with this show. It's our clubhouse.
Yeah, it's a clubhouse. It's a hangout.
Yeah, clubhouse type of thing there. So
we travel many different corners of of culture and comics and art and wherever the chat takes us sometimes, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Lenrod, please watch Electric Dreams. I also really liked Tales from the Loop. And what's the other one that I love, Mark?
Well, I mean, I really like, of course, Black Mirror is a classic.
Black Mirror. I love Black Mirror. And there's one more, Mark. What's the other one that I love?
Well, there's a new one Love, Death and Robots or Love, God and Robots. That was
I haven't seen that one yet,
that
but
might be
there's
some of that might be a little. Some of them are horror genres, others are totally not. But
yeah.
some of those, I should go through them and tell you which episodes I think you would like versus some of the ones that are more
The scary
graphic
ones,
and
yeah, I can't do the
scary
scary
ones.
ones, but
I'm
Electric
trying to.
Dreams,
Electric
I
Dreams is
think,
great. Philip
is
K.
the
Dick.
gold standard of storytelling. It is beautiful storytelling. I think it's what everyone is hungry for. It feels gorgeous. It's like climbing under your blanket with your flashlight and reading a comic for the first time in your life. That's what Electric Dreams feels like. It feels so good. Uh, God, I love Electric Dreams. So good, so good, so good. None of
That's
the
an old
the
show
weirder
now, I
tones
guess.
that happen with Black Mirror. Although I love Black Mirror, Electric Dreams is glorious.
There you go. There you go. What's that on? That's on. Where's that
So
available? Like, is it
That's I think
Amazon?
it's Amazon if memory serves.
Okay.
I think it's Amazon streaming. Yep. But it was an anthology show, so different cast each week. It's kind of like a Twilight Zone, in some ways. You know that kind of show, that kind of. And of course, I did love the new Outer Limits. Although I thought there were a lot of classic episodes
I
on
love the
that
original of that.
show. The original, of course, is
I like the
phenomenal.
Oh,
But
God.
but the
Original's a
new
great
one,
show.
the new one, there were some episodes I really loved on that new Outer Limits series.
It's not too bad.
I'm trying to think of what other new, but yeah, that's why I was looking at this. I've just found this article in my search, and so over the years, television has evolved to be more serialized than episodic.
Yes.
It's helpful to understand both types of storytelling.
Yes.
When we talk about episodic television, refer to shows like Scooby Doo, where a character or group of characters is presented with and fully solves a new case in each episode.
Right. And
The
Matlock.
recent Matlock, yep, yeah,
And
the
Quincy.
recent and Quincy, yeah, the recent decline in episodic drama series can be tied to the rise of streaming platforms where episodes tend to drop all at once rather than airing week to week. Episodes of serialized television are more like chapters in a book. Each episode builds upon the previous one as a slice of a much larger story. Think Lost, Game of Thrones, Stranger Things, even the MCU, etc. Serialized TV is made for binging because the spectator simply hops to the next part of the big season-long story. By contrast, a viewer can understand an episode of Star Trek, Law and Order, Seinfeld, and the comedies we've discussed without seeing previous episodes. So, of
That's
course,
correct.
that caught my eye when they mentioned Star Trek. With a comedy or drama, each installment of an episodic show uses the same characters, yet is self-contained. For this reason, these shows tend to do well in syndication.
They
Yeah,
do.
because you can just pick it up and watch it.
Yeah.
I'll just read the
One
next
of the reasons
paragraph
why
here.
short story is beloved by Americans is Americans used to have these beautiful little teeny tiny pocketbooks, and you would have these short stories in them, or you would have them in
Dive
magazines.
novels. Yeah.
And Americans absolutely love traveling with these stories. They love going to work with these stories. They like reading these stories on their lunch break, on the train,
Yes,
on the
yes.
bus. Americans, this is a great tradition for Americans, and I love them for it. I love every inch of America for loving this type of prose. And if
Indeed.
Americans weren't supporting it, it would die.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
so they
short
say here,
stories.
yeah, because they require a new case, situation, or monster each week, Salt Vampire, episodic dramas tend to be workplace shows. They're about detectives, doctors, lawyers, vigilantes, Ghostbusters. Professions operate on a case-by-case basis.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah, the cartoon
What the
maybe.
hell?
Or the real Ghostbusters, right? Yeah, episodic drama on television has its
Bum.
origins in police procedurals, which are an offshoot of radio detective shows. Dragnet is an early and prominent example.
Bum. Sorry, I can't help it. See,
No,
Dragnet, you have to
that's
do that.
great. Yeah, you got to do that, right? So that
Impossible
was
not to.
developed into a TV series, and then so each episode finds Detective Joe Friday chasing down a new perp and using lots of technical police jargon along the way. Dragnet predates the formal act structure, but the scripts do specify 3 commercial breaks. In fact, right before the closing commercial, the show leaves the viewer with evidence presented to a jury, but the viewer must return after the commercial to learn the jury's final verdict, of course, right? So that's how they're just showing how I'll put this link in the chat, how TV shows developed. So I thought it
But
was
it's
a nice
important
article.
for people to realize too that it's not quite this innocent either, because now, because there aren't individual authors sending in these scripts to these huge film people and having teleplay people turn it into shows you watch on television. What's actually happened is corporations got involved, and of course, television was made for marketing. It was made for advertising. So advertising is God. It comes before the show. So these advertisers would have people on the writing teams, no longer one author having this really cool exchange with you, but now it's like a writing team. And there's usually a psychologist involved. There's a marketing person involved. There's a PR person involved. And what they try and do is maximize retention. They don't want you to go to another channel. They don't want you to switch to another show. They don't want you to shut the streaming off. So what they do is they create an environment where they can hold your attention so that you can imbibe as much advertising as possible. Now, in the absence of that in streaming, what they've been doing is creating water cooler episodes. These are episodes that enrage people or are so salacious, so overly sexualized, or such a hot topic that you'll talk about it at work. And your water cooler is now social media. And so these mega corporations get you to go on social media to complain or to talk or commiserate about the episodes. And that's where most of the money is being generated, to the tune of, I think the figure is over $900 billion that market will be worth within the next few years. So there's a lot going on as far as what's actually happening and how the stories are being packaged, rather than the way that they happened before, which was quite innocent and glorious, which is some little nobody is sitting in boot F nowhere, writes a gorgeous little story, sends it to DC Fontana. DC Fontana says, this is beautiful. Let's make this on television. Let's tweak it like this. Let's tweak it like this. And that's how it used to happen. So there's a lot more in play now. We're not just drawing you into the living room. We're drawing you into the factory in the living room and getting you, eliciting a response from you to generate revenue for the big corporations online.
Yeah, well said, well said. Yeah, so this article does a nice job of explaining, how the episodic TV changed too. So they're saying here,
Sorry,
characters
Chris.
are yeah, Clobby was quick
I'm
on
sorry,
the trigger.
Chris. It was just a habit.
Let him
Thank
come on,
you,
let
though.
the wrenches have their fun.
I'm
Yep.
sorry. It was a
Love you,
knee-jerk
Chris.
reaction. Sorry.
Yeah. And then they're talking about the evolution of shows kind of combined episodic and serialized, like Buffy they're using.
Mhm.
When you have like the overarching monster of the season, but you had, your characters,
The big
fighting
boss.
the big boss, yeah.
Right.
The Flash did that, Arrow did that.
Yeah. So you can see how this author isn't being entirely honest with you about how the process actually works. Because if we were all still watching television, the teaser, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4, that creates that suspension where you're glued to your television set. You can't wait to find out what's going to happen. You're waiting for that Act 4. Even if you use your television remote, which is technology that interfered with advertising, it disrupted advertising, you're going to return to that same channel for Act 4 to see what happens. But in streaming, there are no commercials. There is no suspension. The episode doesn't work, because if it's just an episode, you feel satisfied. You can put it down and maybe you'll return to it later, or maybe you'll forget about it. But if you create a long serialized show that involves a lot of emotion, a lot of politics, a lot of things that you really care about, a lot of stuff that you're going to want to talk about at the water cooler, then these corporations can keep you. So it's not really about teaser, Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, Act 4 anymore, because the lubrication is the advertising that keeps you in your seat and keeps that money rolling in. So be aware of that at home.
Yeah, because they're kind of touching. Well, here they're touching. I guess they're saying TV began to change with the DVR and streaming. So then they went to 5X and a teaser. And of course, they mentioned Boston Legal with the great William Shatner. He was great on that show with James Spader. And now they use a 5X structure. But it's a great point, Raquel, because you don't have that commercial break. You know, when you stream the old shows now, you can see where that commercial break is.
And it changes everything, Mark, because
the flow,
I want you to think about you and me and Clobby. We're all on a writing team together, and we're on television, and we have to write a 4-act television teleplay. You know, we pretty much know exactly what we have to do, and we know we have to be good. This is an episode. It's got to have lots of cool ideas. We got to keep those bums in the seats. Even if somebody gets up to get popcorn, they got to come back into the living room and they got to finish watching it. But, you know, we're not beholden to that once we get into that streaming, right? In that streaming, you can just talk about feelings and leave somebody in this suspended animation, waiting for their sexual or their feelings or their intellectual or their political appetite to be sated. And so you could stretch that on forever. You're just dangling it in front of them. So it's quite a different process than it used to be. And it has affected quality, because before, when your bum had to be in the seat, in the living room, watching the commercials, you had to have high quality. You had to have great ideas. Now people can pick it up and put it down. It's with them when they're in the toilet. It's with them when they're in bed. It's in the living room. Their kid is going to take it and put it on an iPad. It can be put away. Your device can run out of juice. So they have to leave it these long things where you never quite feel satisfied by it. And I hope people quickly fall out of love with this BS.
Yeah, because what they're saying here is that with more commercial breaks, today's audience is likely they utilize an A, B, C, and D stories in the episodes. They add all this other stuff, to the to the story. So like they're breaking down. I'll put the link. It's we need to go through this, but they'll break down like Grey's Anatomy, and so it's a nice in-depth article in terms of episodic versus. But God, I missed that episodic TV so much. I have to say, I started, and then like the Blacklist. I remember I started watching and I missed a bunch of episodes. Then I tried to watch another one, and I like James Spader, but like, what the hell is going on here? And I just dropped the show, because you couldn't follow it unless you'd gone back. I'm like, I don't have the time to go back and watch all these episodes now.
And for a while there was a hybrid where Deep Space Nine, yes, there were story arcs, but each episode was a closed story with continuity. It wasn't really all that serialized. Babylon 5 was serialized, but still they had closed episodes. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it had arcs running through it, but they were closed episodes. So there was a nice balance to it, because you like a little continuity. We didn't mind that stuff back then. But then somehow, some way, they started writing these shows that, let's say it's a wimpy like a wimpy 12 episodes for a particular show, right? They don't sit down and write 12 stories. They write one story and they stretch it out to 12 freaking episodes.
That's right. That's exactly what they're doing.
Lazy crap. And
it saves money too, though, Clobby.
Yeah, I guess. Well, yeah, I can understand that. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that. I like one of my all-time favorite shows is Emergency. You could pop any episode of that show on. It doesn't matter. The order does not matter. They had very minor arcs where the guys would get promoted, or characters would change position maybe, but just nothing that really mattered that much. From week to week to week, there wasn't didn't matter. The guys were just out there saving lives. You had usually I think it was four rescues a week. Unless they had like one really big rescue or something, but it didn't matter. But I love the new Battlestar Galactica, but most of those episodes, you really had to watch those in order. Some of them you could watch, didn't matter, but for the most part, you had to watch that show in order, I would think, to really get the most. You definitely don't want to watch that last episode first, right? That's but you could watch Turnabout Intruder. I know some people don't like that episode, but it wouldn't really matter. But
Once
what
once the
I
commercials
miss.
come back, I think we're going to see quality come back, and I think we're going to see episodes come back once the commercials come back. Because once the commercials come back and the money starts flowing again, instead of getting you to watch all of these feelings for an extended period of time, feelings that are never
Yeah.
never satisfied, and they make you feel angry and upset, and so
Yeah.
you take it to the water cooler of the internet on social media. Once that is broken, that system is broken, and right now it's a very lucrative system. $900 billion $1 billion is a lot of money. Once that is broken, then the entire organism changes. People honestly believe that radio was made for music and for entertaining. They don't understand that it was actually made for commercials. People don't understand that television. Most people think television was made for shows and movies, and it wasn't. It was made for commercials. It was made. The whole thing is created to get you to buy things, to show you. It's a living catalog of how you should live your life, and how you exchange information. And we're the ones who've been adding to it all these years, and falling in love with it and getting it to become something else. But it is an animal that exists with advertising. And as long as we're going to the toilet with our shows and we're carrying them around in our pocket, and the only way we can express our feelings about these shows is to go online, where these corporations make huge amounts of money listening to us bitch, whine, and moan about them. As long as we're doing that, we're going to be away from episodic television, because episodic television is more expensive. It takes more ideas. It takes more authors. And it is pro people. This feelings and getting you to be angry and upset and let it all happen on the internet, it's very anti-people. It's very anti-social. And I hope people will soon catch on to this and demand to have those high quality shows again.
I hope so. I hope so
Well,
indeed.
Netflix is allegedly bringing back commercials, or not, shouldn't say bringing back, but that's one of the rumors, is they might have commercials that have a higher tier for no commercials, and that's pretty much what most most channel streaming services do now. I mean, I think Paramount, if you pay more, Hulu, you pay more, then you don't have commercials, so it'll be interesting to see. But I'd rather have pay a little bit and get some quality TV.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, once you have all that revenue coming in from local television stations and syndications, and you have it going out all over the world, and those television stations are getting their palms greased by all of these wonderful advertising people who say, I want to sell beds, I want to sell cars, I want to sell fans. This is what pushes all of that money into the engine of creativity. And then you can afford to have more than 3 of the same authors working on a corporate writing team, working with a psychologist, a marketer, and a PR person, saying, how can we stretch this story out as long as possible and keep people watching it as long as possible, so that we can package it as quote unquote content. They're not even selling stories anymore. They're selling content. And it is just such a horrible, horrible thing to happen, especially to geeks. Nerds, we can run back to our books. Geeks, you all love your films and your television shows, and you're so good at curating the most beautiful and cerebral and gorgeous and artful examples of those films and those TV shows. But it's terrible right now, and it's so bad to see this happening to the Orville. This was not the right way to go. It's how far it has fallen from season 1 and season 2.
Welcome, Captain Cockney Spot. What's up, buddy? Pop culture creator. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Says ads invite censorship and political influence from the sponsors. We lived under that regime for way too long. I mean, don't they still have ads? I mean, some places.
Yeah, and
I see 'em.
pop culture curator, although it goes beyond the scope and mandate of this particular show, I would definitely encourage you to understand your interaction through the internet, because it's actually compounded and magnified the power of suggestion when you're talking about censorship, political influence, aggregated data, and how your information is generated to you. You could have 3 people sitting beside one another on a bus stop, and you could all type the same thing into Google, and a different answer would come up for each one of you, because of that aggregated data and how the algorithms are built to keep you online and to groom their content so that you're constantly immersed in advertising. So while I like your comment, and I don't want to sound insulting, it's very important for you to not be naive about how this type of surveillance and this type of curation and censorship, how it's actually magnified exponentially and actually increased the power to decide what you see. And it's the algorithms. That's why I suggest everyone here, if you're not using DuckDuckGo and you're on all this social media all the time, try and stop these algorithms up. Try and be your own person. One way you can do that is by using Brave. Brave is more than just a way of operating your computer. They have a wonderful search engine. Please find Brave and use Brave, and allow your eyes to be open to what the algorithms are serving you up, completely unbeknownst to you. So like I said, beyond the scope and mandate of this particular venue, this medium, but certainly definitely something that I have studied my whole life, and something I would be interested in talking to you in depth about in a different format. So thank you for your comment.
Thank you for your comment indeed. What else?
Thor. We can talk about Thor.
Well, I can do the tripwire first and then get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Because Hungry Boy wants to see this tripwire. Or does he?
Sure, yeah.
Or
Hungry Boy, go hide.
No, actually, he probably peaked already, like he always does. I'm just kidding. Hungry Boy. All right, Hungry. Let's see here. Okay, again, this is another example of, at 29, are there 28 better than this 29? Oh, God damn it, Bobby, he says. So you haven't seen it yet.
No, I don't think so.
All I'm saying, Hungry Boy, about this next one here is I'm a little skeptical that there are 28 that belong above this guy. This is a 29 now.
It's not Kirby.
No, do you hear me in a rage punching things?
Not yet, no.
Okay. So
Hungry Boy says, I thought it was safe.
Mobius at 29.
Mobius.
A.K.A. Jean Giraud. Very nice man. Met him once. Nice. And then, of course, our good old, but this makes me nostalgic and sad for our good buddy, Mark C., who loved Mobius. He was a huge fan. He really loved this Sergeant Blueberry stuff. I don't know what you think of him, Hungry Boy, but, let's look a little bit of his art. Jean Giraud, the late Mobius, who was, again, like I said, very nice man, at least when I met him. And
wow, he looks like a sweetie.
Greats. This was one of my buddy Mark C's favorite comics, Lieutenant Blueberry, whatever it was. Yeah, Lieutenant Blueberry.
Cowboy stuff.
Yeah, he did a lot of great stuff.
Good Westerns?
He did a lot of stuff, but he did that. That's a great Western comic there. I thought it was safe. So I want to get Hungry Boy's reaction. Let me know when it comes through there. But he did a lot more than that. He did a lot of fantasy work. He's a French artist, of course. This was a great comic. Lieutenant Blueberry was fantastic, but that was just one of many. I mean, he just mostly, and again, it was weird because he did mostly, this is the only book he did really like that. I think he did a lot of great fantasy work. But that's what he was, I think, some of his earliest works. And of course, Metal Hurlant, which basically was the Prince heavy metal.
Yeah, as I say, it looks
Oh,
like
wow.
heavy metal.
It's pretty much heavy metal comes from
Heavy metal.
metal Erland. How do you say it? Hurlant, metal, Erland.
Yeah. Because it looks like a lot of those themes. Yeah.
Most American audiences know him from his Silver Surfer stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say the Silver Surfer with Stan Lee.
No,
that was a two issues, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember reading that when that came out. Yeah, that was a great
artist.
Interesting style, though. It's not for everyone, but it's definitely a talented guy.
No, here we go. no, God damn it! Moby Woby is okay, but the high pass Kane and Perez, yeah. Oh look, no, I don't want to. He shouldn't be past Kane and Perez at all, in my opinion.
Mm.
But since those guys have already been on this list, what 27 guys are better than him, though? Hungry Boy was my question. I can't.
Yeah.
As with a couple of these guys we've been seeing, I'm like, I want to know who these guys think is better. And certainly fewer more respected than Mobius.
Yeah. Did you see this comment that he just put up? It's pretty hysterical. Hungry Boy just put up a comment. Tripwire should be sent to bed without its supper. Can I put that on the marquee? I'm just going to put that on the marquee. Look at this.
Yeah, buddy. It'll get worse from here, man. We're got 20.
No, he's a great artist, but it's not, like you said, he should be, you're the artist expert.
He's fine right here. If you had somebody like Gil Kane before him and George Perez and people like that, they're already been passed up way behind him.
That's the problem with the list.
I put them over him, but Jesus Christ, I mean, with the ones left, I don't know who they're going to put on this list anymore. Almost all the big names, except for a few that I can name, have been on here.
McFarlane's already been on here, right? Much higher up.
At least he left his ass way back in the dust where it belongs.
I like.
Well, pop culture curator. It's a little bit more. It's a little bit more covert than you think. I mean, even the apps on your phone right now are passively sending all of your information. We voluntarily give these corporations all of this information, and they sell it. They even sell it to foreign governments. I definitely recommend you should read a book called Data and Goliath that I talk about with my students quite a bit. It's a wonderful book that you should consider reading. It really gets into just how pervasive aggregated data is and how inescapable it is until you completely unplug from the internet. And I do have to say at this point, I would prefer watching commercials in between watching Lucy than what's currently happening with our information now. So it's kind of scary.
Yeah, well, look what's happening with TikTok, right? They were kind of making fun of a certain guy for saying that information was being passed along, and then just the last few days, the government was talking about how, TikTok was not, allegedly sending information to another company, a country when those servers were supposed to be firewalled. So yeah, think about the information they have about, some people are okay with it, but other people are not. But a lot of times it's happening in the backgrounds. I mean, could you I always laugh, like, someone, some of the family, I said, well, put on the, the app so we can, see where you are, and then like, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to be tracked by the government or anyone else. I said, you've got a cell phone. You're being tracked whether you like it or not. And I'm like, they know where you are just because you install the app. That's just so dad can see it, not I mean,
but they don't understand that their cell phones are listening to them. There are many people in the FBI and Mark Zuckerberg himself who has a piece of tape over his camera. It's the surveillance is there, and people think that it's like this big conspiracy theory, and it's not real or whatever. I'm telling you as a communications and technology scholar that it's not a conspiracy because we willingly give this information up. Imagine how many companies have your information and foreign governments have your information just off of your Fitbit alone. Or when you input information into your Weight Watchers app. or your Blue Cross app, or it's like they're collecting information now in exabytes, which
Well,
is unprecedented.
China's
And
hacked everyone that worked for the U.S. government and
mhm,
subcontractors, and they also have a database they've hacked. They probably have they speculation they have a file on everyone lives in the U.S. and
mhm,
knows all their habits. So
mhm,
it's and everyone talks about another certain country, but really China's been doing a ton of hacking, and it's in the
mhm.
news. It's not conspiracy stuff. It
No,
was a
it's
major.
not.
I have friends who work for the government, and they had all the information hacked and everything. All their everything was stolen. So it's
Mhm,
it's a national security problem. The more that we go forward with tech, think of how crippling it is if the internet goes down. The old days, if you lost your telephone, you'd your landline, your one phone, you'd go crazy in your house. But today, if people probably could care less for a while. But if your internet goes down, I mean, that's
you've lost your
it's all
connection to everything, to
right.
society, to everything. Yeah, including
Yeah.
public television. I mean, there was a time when, in order to get televisions into our homes, governments had to leverage things like, basic 3 channels, that had to have a certain percentage of local content. So you would know if there was a tornado or an earthquake or severe weather in your area. Weather had to be free. You had to be able to get that from a local news station, and they were, featuring local restaurants and bars and golf centers and car lots and things like that. So it really has completely transformed the system to only service these huge corporations. And it really has altered our economy in ways that I don't think people will fully understand for another 20 or 30 years. So, behind me, I have a couple of books. There are, if you would like to know more about this, please look up the book called Transparent Lives.
Mhm.
Transparent Lives is a book that I recommend to all my students, and Data and Goliath, if you'd like to truly understand how all this information is interchanged and how your cell phone, your laptop, and your computer are constantly collecting information, how that information is stored, how that information is stolen, collected, sold, and moved all over and exchanged with different information. So this can even come up to things like, okay, so you get up in the morning and the first thing you do is you open up your Echo and you ask your Echo to play Jazz 24. And then you go in and you brush your teeth, and while you brush your teeth, you type in a map of where you're going to go that day. And then you go up to Starbucks and you use your loyalty card to get a coffee, and they know exactly what your coffee is. I mean, this is just the beginning of the day, and you're already sending off thousands and thousands of dollars of your personal information, and you're doing it passively. And so, people are like, oh, yeah, I know that. I know that. I find that shocking that people know that, because I'm a communications and technology scholar and an award-winning one, and I don't know all that. I'm still learning, and I'm still coming to grips with just how powerful this technology and communications and technology are converging. And these mediums and media are converging to use us as commodities. And before, we had so much more control and choice, and we have no power now. And what's worse is that precious few people are aware of it. So it's a thing. It's a thing.
Have a good night, Michael Beacom.
Good night, Beacums. Good night, Cassandra. Good night, Michael.
Indeed,
Good night,
indeed,
Dad
indeed.
Man.
Good
I
night,
was
Dadman Clan.
I was joking with him. I said, whenever I try to spy on you, Dad Man, your picture's blurry, because he puts the note over his camera, the
Way to
sticky
do
note.
it.
Yeah.
Way to do it.
I have a cover for my camera too, but yeah, I mean, just the tech is there. Of course, I don't mind getting so many Star Trek ads, but yeah, it's out there. So, but
Well, there are entire channels on the dark web, and certainly I have read in reputable magazines and books that many of them are overseas, And there are full channels where you can just watch people's footage from using the lavatory, like going to the washroom and then bringing their cell phone in. And there are people who actually pay to watch this footage of you bringing your telephone in with you into the washroom in the morning to relieve yourself and read the news. And there are entire channels on the dark web and in other places where that's a channel that people subscribe to, and they're watching you go potty.
Wow. If they're watching me, I feel sorry for them. Say, look, you watching this? You deserve everything you get. Keep watching, baby.
Yeah.
Turn that
If you're
off.
looking at this nightmare, then you deserve it.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's
Somehow I
a
don't think
thing.
so.
This is what happens when you when you carry around a phone and you tell it
Right.
everything, you show it everything, you put a camera, an unprecedented, powerful camera on it with a listening device that cannot be shut off, and you connect it to corporations, and then you download pervasive apps that take all your information and sell it. And then there are the people who steal it and sell it. So it's quite
Wow.
an
Yeah.
ecosystem.
Mr. Angel.
Hey, Mr. Angel,
Hey, what's
chef.
up?
Hey, Mr. Angel.
Hey. Mark, I forgot what we were going to talk about next.
We've got Thor, and then I've got one enabling item that everyone's going to really
We-
like.
Dun, dun,
We
dun,
can
dun.
If you want to talk about Thor, I mean,
Well, we should talk about it for a few.
Raquel said she hated it and was one of the worst movies she's ever seen.
Yeah.
No, she hasn't watched it. She doesn't watch
I mean,
that crap.
I would never watch that show. I looked at it
Uh,
and I was like, "Oh my gosh! Oh,
Hey,
what
if
is
she's
this?"
If you ever watch a superhero movie, please let us pick it. Don't watch that one.
I actually,
yeah.
I think you have told me. I need to ask you what it's called again. But there is one superhero movie that I would like to see that you told me about. My husband made me watch one that isn't really a superhero movie, but I did
Which one?
enjoy it, and it was called Unbreakable.
Oh yeah, I love Unbreakable. I think
Yep.
you should watch. Obviously, you've seen Christopher Reeve's original Superman at some point.
Yes,
I think you should watch the Captain America films. I mean, actually, you should watch Iron Man 1 and then the Captain America films. And you might like Thor. If you watch those early Marvel movies, then because Captain America: The Winter Soldier to me is probably the greatest superhero movie.
you have to give me this list because I am going to watch it.
I will.
And Boosh McFadden says, "Raquel, you seem
Hey,
a little
Boosh.
blue. Are you okay?" No, sweetheart. It is 7 million degrees here right now. Of course, I'm exaggerating. And we have a severe thunderstorm watch and a tornado watch a few hundred kilometers south
Right.
of me. So as I'm sitting in front of this computer, I'm melting. But I
Oh,
love
no.
you, and I love that you knew that, Boosh.
So they do have summer on Andoria, basically.
Yes, they do. They
They do
I'm
have
not
summer.
Anar. I'm not protected
You're not an
in this
Anar, yeah.
beautiful cold core.
Yeah, and yeah, I know we're not talking about the Wormy show, but the one character that was semi-written with modicum of intelligence, the engineer. Spoiler warning. I guess they nuked him in the Gorn episode, the Gorn not Gorn episode, which I haven't watched yet. So it's like really, you got rid of the one new interesting character.
Look, I'm
who
getting
happened
crap
to
for
have-
going to see this movie. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I just had to mention that, but
No. Strangled Dude Worms. Yeah, we don't review it here or anything, but
yeah,
we do sit
but I just
through.
figured
Well,
I'd mention
two of
that.
us sit through it.
Yeah.
Was it Captain? But Thor, look, Thor's giving me crap about seeing Thor.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
come on, you should have changed the script, Maddie's
Yeah, but
daddy.
he's Vegas Thor.
Look,
He's not
in all
Hollywood Thor.
seriousness, I have a good friend of mine who I don't know if he's listening here tonight. He might be we've gone to all the Marvel movies together since 2010, almost all of them. He's it's our one thing we do together. He is not he's not having a great time with his health right now and stuff, and we're gonna get together. I'd go out and we make a day of it, and we go see these movies together, and then I review them. I like to review these movies. I don't like them that much anymore, but yeah, so sue me. And
And
what I did
JD
get,
Lewis has to go to bed, boss. He's pooped.
JD Lewis,
Good
Good
night,
night,
take it
JD.
easy. Now, before we start with the movie, if you want to review the popcorn container.
You should show that. Yeah, I didn't
my
have that at mine,
gosh.
or they were sold out. I would have
That's the
dropped some
popcorn,
coin on that one.
The popcorn bucket right there.
That's really
Thor's
awesome.
hammer. It holds about like 3 pieces of popcorn.
What?
I mean, look how much popcorn it holds.
Yeah, but
Or
that's
how
gorgeous.
it would hold a lot of M&Ms though.
That's so cute.
It's tiny, but it's too expensive, and I shouldn't have done it.
No,
What the-
you should have. I think that's great.
But it looks great.
How does the hammer fit in the box? It folds up, or what is it?
No, it just opens.
They give it to you with the box. It'll fit in the box, I think. They take it out. Yeah, I think it'll.
They
or
must
maybe they gave
assemble it
to
or something. I know. I'm just that's
Maybe
the
you can
engineer
unscrew
asking.
the handle.
I
Yeah,
know,
it
I'm just
comes
wondering.
unscrewed.
Like,
It took me forever to get the handle inside that thing.
Oh, it
You
must
just
be inside.
don't take it
pieces.
apart. That's done now. Don't wreck it. Just leave it exactly the way it is.
I'm
And
sending
I
it
think
to
that's
Mark
cool.
anyway. I'm
That's
gonna have to take
cooler
that
than
out of
the
there.
stupid Ghostbusters car.
I'm gonna send it to Mark. So that's Anyway, so yeah, there you go. That's the popcorn, the bucket.
If you send it to me, you're going to send it with popcorn?
Hell no, I'm eating that popcorn tonight. It's like all 3 pieces of it. Because they don't give you a shite for popcorn. This thing, I mean, it was too damn expensive. It was an impulse buy. It's really cool. And now I hate my guts for them. And so did my friend. He bought one too. Like, oh, now I feel like jackasses for buying this. The Doctor Strange one was way cheaper than that.
Yeah, the Doctor Strange one was.
They give you the box, you know.
You got a lot of popcorn in that one at least. Too.
You got a refill at least.
Yeah, you do get a free refill. But of course, there's so much damn popcorn in there.
Hey,
the Doctor Strange one is cool.
What's up, PJ? What's going on, buddy?
Hey, PJ.
But yeah,
Hey,
like I said,
Pop
that is
Culture
not.
Curator says, apparently I don't know anything about the subject. Can't make a point of view in 2 sentences. I regret it. You know, Pop Culture Curator, I don't think anyone here said that. I didn't see anyone say that in the chat. I didn't say that. Mark didn't say that. Clobby didn't say that. Nobody said you don't know anything about the subject. And yes, it is incredibly difficult to communicate ideas in restricted characters. It's horrible, but
Right.
I feel bad that you say that you regret it, because it's an opportunity for people to discuss a very important issue. A lot of people felt as though commercials were devoted to a certain psychographic and a certain demographic when we were growing up as Gen X, and they didn't like those commercials. They didn't like how the commercials just kept on getting louder and louder and dumber and dumber. And I think that that's wonderful, that we're able to recognize that. But it's a topic that requires a lot of unpacking. So I want to thank you for broaching it, and I feel bad that you feel like you're not able to fully express yourself. But it is an important subject, and I hope that you no longer feel bad.
Pop Culture Curator, dude, just a chat of a YouTube stream, especially when it's not really about that subject, is not a good place to litigate such a thing anyway. So.
Well, it's tough. Yeah, it's tough when it's very tough and I understood what he was trying to say, and I think that's part of why we're streaming on YouTube right now. So, you can
let's just go back to having fun.
But that's why we're here. We have fun, and you don't have to worry about the commercials and all that stuff. So
yes,
that's what I was trying to say. Yep.
You notice behind here, can you see my mouse?
That's the Doctor Strange.
Behind there's the Doctor Strange one, popcorn bucket, but you can't see that well. But you see some Claude art behind here too.
Yeah,
that's
Very Claude.
Nicely done. Yeah,
Kirby and
that is Kirby. Yeah,
over there. That's Claude airbrush art right there for those. I couldn't resist it, PJ. I mean, I'm an idiot. It's too expensive, but
don't say that.
I happen to know I'm an idiot. I have proof on file. So
proof. Yeah.
I have a license. I have my license. Thank you very much. I worked very hard for it. And but it is kind of cool. Like I said, that's enough popcorn, like a handful. So I mean, at least the Doctor Strange one, you can get a lot of popcorn in that sucker.
Yeah. Well, the Doctor Strange one, you can reuse it. Like I keep it under my cabinet, folded up. So if you want to throw popcorn.
Of course
in there,
you do.
Claude put a little light thingy in his and just got it as a display thing. It's like pretty cool.
Oh, the Doctor Strange one.
He's creative. So. But the movie, however, again, we won't spoil anything. This is not like when we were reviewing,
very minor spoilers.
Which also
plot points.
Let's not spoil or anything.
The movie just came
out today.
No, I'm just saying, like from the stuff that's in the trailer, we could talk about him. So that
Well,
kind of
yeah, but that's not spoilery. See,
yeah, you know,
Saturday at 4 p.m. Central, J-Man and hopefully Mark, we will do a fully spoilery reviewy thingy.
Like
I just want to say it was
hourglass,
just
so
it
are
was,
the Thors of our lives.
Yes. But you could say whether you liked it or not. I mean, I didn't really like it that much. Shocker.
Yeah, I as a longtime Thor fan, I guess my summary where I gave a quick live reaction, and thank you for dropping by a little bit earlier on my stream. It ruined the comedy was overboard, and he's like let's Wahiti's like let's do the comedy to 11, and instead of dialing down a bit and maybe just making 10 a little bit less loud, he just everything is a joke, and there's some really poignant subject matter in this story, and it's not a spoiler. Everyone knows that something's going on with Jane, so there's really something that's really touching there. And Thor's got a nice speech in the end, a nice dialogue, but it's ruined by jokes in the beginning and jokes at the end. And just
good God,
yeah, he doesn't know when to not knock off the jokes. So and you ruin the character. So every character's got quips, and I guess because Ragnarok did well. If Ragnarok didn't have half the jokes that this movie had, and a lot of them fall flat and just wreck the character moments. So because there are in there potentially nice character moments, right? And there's some
they did to Zeus was inexcusable.
Zeus was obscene what they turned Zeus into. Yeah, Raquel, don't watch it.
You don't want to know what they did to Zeus. It was so disgusting.
Well, Rolling Stone came right out and called it genre conflation, which I've been talking about since 2017, and it seems like only you and Mark are the only people who listen to me when I talk about that. But Rolling Stone came right out and basically used my exact words that I've been yelling since 2017. They were like, this is a total genre conflation. There's too much, they're trying to rope in way too many different types of viewers. There's I've said it before and I'll say it again. When these corporations are trying to make a movie for everyone that all 7 billion of us will watch, then no one wants to watch it because it loses cohesion. There's nothing there that's appealing. So this is like a superhero movie that tries to be science fantasy, that tries to rope in Viking mythology, that tries to rope in Greek mythology, that wants to be a comedy, that also wants to be a romance, and it also wants to be an action adventure. And it's just like it ends up just being a big puddle of poop because it's trying to be too many things to everyone, because everyone wants to make $1 billion film instead of just making really great films and making the same amount of money. I mean, Star Trek made a lot of money and it did it by being good.
This thing here, this is getting really tiresome. Taiki Woti Goki Titi or whatever his face is. Like Mark, you were saying, Mark, every single scene that starts to flow, starts to work, is relatively entertaining or going on, gets shot in the head with a dumb joke and a falling flat joke as well. It's just, oh God. And the Marvel, this has been the MCU, now MCU, MO, for a while, but never to this extent. They've always been quippy. They've always, and look, I've had people, I used to defend this because there used to be people that really just hated the quippy stuff from the Marvel films. And I'm always like, it's okay. Comic books were like that too, so they're kind of faithful to the Marvel comics. But now it's become and Josh Whedon did kind of put it in there. He kind of was one of the ones that did it. And they started copying that Whedon speak, writing and stuff. It's called Whedon speak. He's got a certain way he writes. Who's he, like that Aaron Sorkin or whatever, who all of his characters talk exactly the same way, or in comics like that idiot Michael Bendis, Brian Michael Bendis, who all of his characters are the same because they all talk exactly the same. He's a jackass. It's him, it's just him projecting through his characters. He's a crap writer. In this thing, good night, Pleasant Valley. Good to see you, man. Pleasant Valley Picker, sorry.
Night, PC.
This thing, yeah, it's just, but the thing is, it's not even funny. It's not supposed to be a comedy. And I'm tired of Thor being a clown. They've regressed his character again. He's not really the most important character in the film that they are, of course. And Zeus, Jesus,
What they did to
what they did to
Zeus was
Zeus
an
was
abomination.
pathetic. It was
It was
absolutely horrible.
it's equivalent to what they did to the Gorn in terms
And
of character destruction.
the strange new worms, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's equivalent to that. Yeah, strange new worms is. Well, we're talking about Akiva Goldsman. At least, you know, what's Thor's excuse? Akiva Goldsman, idiot, didn't write this, but we may as well have. It's really bad, man. It's just.
Yeah, because Odin is supposed to be majestic, the father of all the gods, the most powerful, wise.
You mean Zeus?
Zeus, sorry, yeah, Zeus. But you could, you know, basically say the same thing about Odin too, in some ways, right? But thank you, yeah.
They didn't make a joke out of Odin like they did.
No, they didn't
Zeus.
make a joke out of Odin, but they turned Zeus into a total joke, a frat boy with a ridiculous accent,
with a tutu.
Yeah, and he comes down the stairs and he flips his clothes like he's, you know, as a joke. I mean, why Zeus would never act that way in a zillion years.
PJ, basically, but I guess this is not really that much of a spoiler. Odin is played by, Zeus is played by Russell Crowe. He's got a big old, I don't know if it's a fat suit or whatever. And he walks, when they finally see him walk out from behind the thingy or whatever, he's wearing I'm not even kidding you, a tutu. And he's got a stupid accent. He's an idiot. And he's not scary at all. Like, you know, Odin, played by Anthony Hopkins in the films of the Marvel films, has been pretty good.
Gravitas. I mean,
there was some gravitas to it. You knew that was Odin. It really worked. Yeah, you know, he could make had a wry wit about him, which may not have been all that Odinish, but that's the MCU for you. However, Zeus is supposed to be his equal, his counterpart, not a guy to be messed with, not a guy to be laughed at. He is a joke, and he's a pathetic joke in this movie. It just sucks. Oh my God.
And what they did to Thor too in that one scene, everyone's seen in the trailer, you know, where they're in that's the scene with Zeus, and Thor petitions Odin for something in the, you know, to deal with the movie, and then he captures him with, you know, and then he strips him down nude in front of everyone. Could you imagine if they had done that to Jane Foster character, what the uproar would be right now? How many boycotts would be going on?
Everyone was loving it, and the women were going nuts over, but
laughing.
You couldn't do it to a woman. And you shouldn't do it to a woman, but you shouldn't do it to her either.
You shouldn't do it to a guy either. I mean, you know, it'd be one thing to reveal him as Thor, but not, you flip too much, you got rid of all my clothes. You know, that was just ridiculous what they did. And the whole, you know, they tried to do almost like a Star Wars prequel scene, you know, with everyone in the, you know, in the Republic there, you know, in the government, kind of copying that scene a little bit. But at one point, I felt like I was watching Batman and Robin again, just in terms of the movie didn't know whether or not to become a parody of itself, or was it going to be serious, or was it making fun? Because, you know, the Guardians of the Galaxy were a total joke in the movie. Hey, everything was a joke. I mean,
Hungry Boy, they steal his lightning. They steal. Literally, Thor steals and takes away from Olympus, or it's not Olympus, it's Omnipotent City, which is stupid. They steal it from his lightning power. They actually steal his lightning rod. Zeus's lightning rod. They steal it. Think about that for a second.
I'm quite sure this movie is going to bomb in Greece.
I'm maybe there.
But they won't show it in Greece. The people.
I'm not involved with the Greek community anymore, but I can definitely tell you that I can predict how the Greek community is going to react to this, and I don't think people in Greece are going to be pleased.
Hungry Boy.
Yeah, when he says the scene with his lightning, it's like it's a weapon. It's actually a physical lightning. It's not. He's not summoning lightning. It's actually like a Thor's hammer. It's
stupid ass weapon. Yeah, shaped like a lightning bolt.
Like, and he's flipping around and he's doing all this stuff. He's like a gymnast doing, you know, doing a routine. And then he's like, at the end, he's like, no, you can't have it. You know, it's a MacGuffin. Thor wants to borrow it. And as my son said, when he uses the weapon, it doesn't even help them. It's supposed to be this all powerful weapon. It really doesn't. It doesn't do anything at the, you know, they finally get this, like you said, they steal Zeus's lightning bolt weapon, you know, which is ridiculous that it was a actual object you take, because that power comes from Zeus to throw lightning bolts. And it doesn't even do anything in the end, too, because then that would ruin the story, quote unquote, ruin the story, right? Once you had the weapon, then you could defeat the enemy, but it doesn't even, it helps, but it's not the, you know, end all be all. So it's,
well, also,
that was the worst part of the movie. Yeah.
That was the worst. But also, By the way, there were a couple of decent Kirby, not like in Ragnarok, enough like Ragnarok, but a couple of Kirby homages where they showed a couple of Celestials, but it was kind of dumb how they showed them. And then they had a Ditko homage in there. They showed Eternity. They use Eternity. Yes, the Marvel's version of Eternity, and yet they don't know anything about the character, but they use him for. So goddamn stupid.
Can't say.
Idiots.
I guess it's too spoiler.
I won't spoil what they use him for, but holy shit! Did you ever read Oh my god! I was beside myself in the theater. I'm apoplectic. Going, hey, did you assholes? What is Eternity? Is he a genie now? What in the hell? And he looked pretty good.
Yeah,
but
I did
Jesus
look good.
Christ, idiots! Oh my god, man! Fucking dumbasses. All right.
And the problem is that there's a kernel of a good story there because of the Jason Aaron run, the Thor, God of Thunder 1 through 25. I thought were some fantastic comic book stories with Thor.
Yeah, the God Butcher's not that good.
No, but the comic, as you know, typically is better. So if they'd and at least they didn't make him a joke. I mean, Christian
Bale's decent in it.
Yeah, he's not his arc isn't bad, and it's it's I think it ends well, but just it's the comedy. It's just too much damn comedy. I don't want to see Thor. All right, if you want to do this, come up with a stand-up film. Thor doing stand-up for Netflix, maybe. I don't know. But and Hemsworth is great actor and he's got that comedic touch, so he at least has good delivery. But you can't go this route with Thor. Doesn't know who he is. I mean, the guy is one of the most powerful beings in the universe, and he's fought off all these demons and frost giants, and he's has this moment of crisis. I mean, it's just.
Orville Nation. We've talked to PJ into going to see it though. Use reverse psychology on him.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's look, I didn't really hate the movie that much. I hated these things we're talking about. For the most part, this thing just kind of moves along where it's sort of there. You kind of knew how much that the Guardians wouldn't be in there that much. Some of the stuff with Jane and Thor is like, I'm not. Well, we can't get all that.
Can't do it. But I mean, it had potential, but just wrecked by the comedic aspects.
They tried to make cancer funny. It's stupid.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. Yeah,
it's just everything because everything's a joke. Look, I hate to be that guy. You hate to be the stick in the mud. Lighten up. I'm lighting up just fine. But everything in there's no stakes and no gravitas to any story. If every 5 seconds your story's in your character's in a dramatic situation, make a stupid joke. Taika Waititi, Katie Face, is a freaking idiot. He sucks. He doesn't care. He's the one that said when he started this project out a few years ago, "I'll ruin your mythos in a minute, baby." He said that. He's proud, and he pretty much did. Actually, the women, they have one unbelievably cringy scene with her, with Natalie Portman. But actually, Natalie Portman, I don't even like Tessa Thompson. I can't stand her. They're actually not they're not bad. They're just sort of okay in the movie. They're just there. Hemsworth is good, but he's kind of almost looks bored. Maybe he is bored, I guess. And that the stuff at the ending. Oh, geez. Look, this movie, the more I think about it, the more I'm going to hate it.
Well, it was kind of a meh. It was kind of meh. Yeah, it's for me, I wouldn't say it was just disappointed. Disappointed because I don't think you've read. I don't know. I'm guessing you haven't read those.
I didn't read the God Butcher story, but I know enough about it to know that they didn't get him necessarily right. Did he have that same sword?
Yeah, he had the
sword he had, but
yeah, I mean, it's some of the plot points are similar, but it wasn't written as a comedy. Of course, and then you're flash forward in the future where Thor is the last god of Asgard with a couple of his nieces, and they're very So, but that was interesting because they were going back and forth in
that was
time.
The comic. Make sure you make that
comic. The comic. Yeah. It's not in the movie, but we're trying to do mostly no spoilers here.
Right. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but it was the comic had a much more dramatic effect, and the scenes that I did like in this, like I said, were bits and pieces. I would edit it out the funny stuff because the cancer stuff is really touching and hits home. If you cut out if you re-edit that scene, you know, I thought, and people in my theater started to clap at certain points with interaction with Jane and with Thor and
Thor and
Portman, Thor and Thor. I was gonna say, yeah. So and there's another thing that I won't even mention because that could have gotten a little cringy. But yeah, Tessa Thompson was fine. I mean, she doesn't, you know, that's not who I imagined Valkyrie to be.
It wasn't as bad as I
but,
thought she was going to be because I don't like her.
no, but she wasn't. You know, she's a minor part in the movie anyway. And there's some kids in the movie, and I thought they did a pretty good job. And there's some scenes with them that were fun. But I guess yeah, like I always say, go.
Why does
You know,
Heimdall have a kid?
see.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Go see it yourself if you know decide. But it's for a hardcore Thor fan. You know, I think. But I'm thinking like my son and his girlfriend didn't really think it was that great either. They liked parts of it, but they wasn't like, oh my god, let's take mom to go see this tomorrow because she hasn't seen it yet. You know, kind of like we did with Infinity War. We're like, oh, let's go see this again. You know, or you know, the Civil War movie. You know, everyone wanted to see that again because it's Spider-Man in it.
Captain James C. Skywalker answered no. Without spoiling it. You know, another thing, I that stupid ending, and I don't want to say it. Some of the stupid, again, won't go into detail. The stupid stuff with him between him and Stormbreaker and his hammers, like, that's not funny. Just shut up.
Yeah, that was ridiculous with the hammers.
What's the rock guy's name again?
Korg.
Forget his name. Korg. That's
Korg.
right. He was.
And he's supposed to be a terrifying. You know, if you read Planet Hulk, they're, you know, terrifying characters. Him and Meek actually in the comics, you know, betrays Thor or Hulk, excuse me, in the comics.
He's barely in it. Meek's barely in it.
Barely, yeah, one throwaway scene.
The Guardians,
an annoying scene. That's a scene that ruins that whole.
It was annoying.
That ruined the scene, didn't it? When Thor's giving that speech and he's going to rally the troops, and then they go cut to Meek.
They had to make a joke.
It's in the trailer, and they had to cut a joke, and it ruined. You're like, all right, Thor's going to give this great. You know, he's coming in. Valkyrie's not getting it done.
This movie should have had a laugh track.
Yeah,
it's like a sitcom.
Well, that was disappointing. Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, Saturday we'll spoil the hell out of it and rip the shit out of it.
Yeah. I still give it like a B-, C+, but
J-Man might have liked it. You never know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
But yeah, it's just it was just more of a bummer that you know, I'm not saying like don't see it, Hungry Boy, but I don't think you would. Knowing you, I don't think you would enjoy it. I mean,
don't
it didn't
go
have
to the theater to see that, dude.
Yeah, it didn't have anything where I wanted to yell at the screen. I have to say, like, you know, just as like it was more cringy, groany, cringeworthy stuff where you're like, why are they doing this? And who's the editor on this movie that, you know, thought not to dial it down? I guess the proof will be in the you know, the word of mouth and you know, obviously the box office. You know, hey, it's gonna make its money. I mean, it's a very popular.
I don't think it'll hit $1 billion.
No, never will. You need word of mouth. I mean, Top Gun has been. Sorry, I know we're not supposed to mention that, but that's been showing some legs. Yeah. So
about that crap.
Yeah.
But what can you do? We need to. You know, we were already picked on Raquel about watching superhero movies. We want to turn her into a geek, everyone. By the way, we're on a quest to turn Raquel into a geek.
We'll get it done, yeah.
And then we're gonna feel sorry if we do that because she'll, you know, that's not a good thing to be. So you don't want. But there are some now. In all seriousness, because she likes good movies, I don't think she'd be really into superhero movies that much. But there are a couple she would think is okay and enjoy, and she wouldn't be like us about them. But you know, still, I wouldn't want her to watch it and go, "This sucks." But I don't want to tell Mike and Mark because they liked it. Then they're so, you know, because I know you.
It's hard for me because you know what I'm like. Like I think that superhero is a vehicle. It's like this all-encompassing storytelling device where we get to take the very worst of us and then the best of us. And the best of us conquer. But we don't conquer through like vanquishing our enemies or even through violence. It's truly about like being a medicine for all of society, living this beautiful life where you try and correct everything that's going wrong and fix everything for everyone, instead of just, having good versus evil. It's more complicated than that. Maybe that's why I love Christopher Reeve, because he was a guy who was a superhero who was trying to heal an entire planet of people. He had no agenda other than healing humanity. And I'm just not sure that we can tell stories like that anymore, because everybody wants it to be political and partisan and didactic and instructive, and they want to infantilize the audience, treat us like children. They want to divide us. They want us to say this is bad, 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 instead of just looking at people as
The,
people. And I don't know if we're ever going to return to that same kind of storytelling that I love.
yeah, the
And
early MCU movies didn't do that though.
yeah,
They
and
were
that's why I'm interested in hearing the movies you like. But you and I are of one mind when we start talking about Spider-Man, and that wonderful Spider-Man 1960s Spider-Man
oh
cartoon
yeah,
that I grew up
67, yeah.
it
love
being
it.
on TV
Or
all the
66,
time.
yeah.
I love that. That's a superhero to me.
Yeah.
When I think about going and seeing the Christopher Reeve Superman movies, that's Superman for me. Like watching Adam West be Batman, that's a superhero to me. I just This other stuff, I don't know what it is, but it's not. These aren't superheroes.
The first um 7, 8 from the 8, 9, or whatever, 12, whatever MCU movies up until around 2018. But from 2008 to 19, now there were not that they're all great. No, no, not every movie's going to be good, mind you, but a lot of them are really good. The heroism is there. They're not preachy. They're just, and they have, of course, the effects to really show these things pop up the comic book page. They feel more like comic books. And they have great casting. Robert Downey Jr. is terrific in the first Iron Man. And I didn't like Iron Man 2 and 3, but he's still great. He's great in the Avengers. Chris Evans is a jerkwad in real life. He's just almost, Christopher Reeve to me is the greatest casting of a superhero ever. And he'll
Yes.
never be touched.
Yes.
Chris Evans is right up there with his casting of Captain America. Chris Hemsworth is great as Thor. It's just that later they just been turning him into a clown. The Avengers movies
Yeah.
are a lot of fun. All those movies, again, there's no agenda to them there other than being fun, and having good characters and about heroism. And that's the reason why they made so much money, why they were so popular. And then after about Avengers, Endgame had so many things wrong with it. At least Avengers Infinity War was the last great one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Even though it continues into that. And so, but it doesn't mean you want to get there and watch them all. I don't know. Maybe you shouldn't watch any of them. I joke around, but I don't like recommending anything to anybody. So we just usually tease you about it. But if you ever
Yeah,
do,
but what about Blake 7?
well, I love that. Well, Blake Seven's greatness
And what about The Prisoner?
and the great stuff. Yeah.
I mean, you
Did I recommend
recommended
them?
those to me, and because I had my head in the books my whole life, and because I live in Canada, I never heard of The Prisoner, and I never heard of Blake 7, and I got to watch both of them, and they're beautiful.
Remember?
The Prisoner is like
Oh yeah.
the closest I've ever seen prose come to poetry, and like opium den poetry, like really, really cool stuff, mind bending, Samuel Taylor Coleridge kind of pleasure dome, freaky prose. I loved The Prisoner. I thought it was glorious. And I thought that Avon was incredible in Blake 7. I thought it was courageous to make Avon. Avon's insanely complex. He's brilliant, but he's slightly not a good guy.
No.
And it reminds me of it totally reminds me of Achilles. Today somebody was talking about Avon as a character, and I retweeted it, and I just said, yeah, like he reminds me of Achilles, dragging around Hector's body behind the chariot. Here you have this hero, and you love him so much, and he's capable of such heroism, and you want to believe in him, and he's just beautiful, but he could also be, really brutal and and barbaric and terrifying and
Yeah.
and rather odious, uh, and in ways in which you can sympathize with when you realize what he's faced with, but then you think to yourself, oh, I could never be that way. And certainly a lot of people are like, oh yes, I could never be that way, but people that aren't actually sure whether or not they would be that way unless they were in that exact situation. And when it's life or death, you have no idea what you're capable of. I don't care who you say you are, who you think you are. You don't know. And Avon opens that door for that. And for me, that makes Blake 7 not
I
only
love
some
it.
of the most expertly executed dialogue in the history of television, but it opens up the characters to just be a very cerebral storytelling process, because you're willing to push beyond the boundaries of what is being presented and fill in the blanks yourself. And what happens, what transpires in that magical space where you're pushing beyond those walls. Avon shines. He's a lion. He's a lion in science fiction, and he'll scare you, and you cheer for him, but you're also terrified of him, and you don't want to be on the ship with him.
Yeah.
I
how much
just
does he weigh? What's the line?
Dylan weighs 73 kilos. Avon.
Yeah. Oh,
But
Mark,
one of
you
my
know
favorite-
exactly what I'm talking about, don't
That's from
you?
Orbit.
Yeah.
One of my favorite lines was in Terminal when they were all trying to, they basically trying to say, look, whatever it is, we'll back you up. Just do what you got to do. And he's about to beam down the terminal. He goes, one last thing. I don't need any of you. I needed the Liberator to bring me this far, so I had no choice but to bring you along. But this is as far as you go. I don't want you with me. I don't want you following me. Understand this. Anyone who does follow me, I'll kill them.
Yeah.
And they believed it. Because, I love Avon. He's probably my all-time favorite TV character, right up there with number 6 and Kirk, the Kirk, Spock, and McCoy Trinity, right up there in the top. He's one, and
For
the
me-
Paladin. So he's
For
so
me,
great.
I cannot consider him in the same category as Kirk and Straker, because I think that he's just different. For me, when I'm thinking about Avon, I'm thinking about the first time that I read the Odyssey. I'm thinking of the first time I read the Iliad and the Fagles translations. I love the Fagles translations. And for me, that's what Avon reminds me of. He doesn't remind me of Kirk or Straker, but for me,
I didn't say it was like them.
no, but you know what I mean. Like when I'm thinking about like the great science fiction heroes, I think of Straker, I think of Kirk, and I love them both so much. But Avon, there's just something so different about Avon, and Avon sort of scares me.
He is scary. Look, there's no way I should love Avon, but I do. When I say I mean TV characters in general. I meant because you can't define him as a good guy or a bad guy. I just meant that I meant TV characters in general. Like my favorite TV character of all time comprised of 3 people, and that's the Trinity of Kirk, Spock, McCoy. But right up there to me is Avon, number 6, Paladin, certain characters that I love. So I mean, but you're right. He's nothing. Blake is closer to being more like Kirk or somebody like that, and even he's got his flaws. Avon is he's undefinable. He's an anti-hero. He's not a hero. He doesn't like heroes. He comes from a civilization that only rewards wealth and status and things like that. He wasn't born into it like Blake was, so he says wealth is the only reality. So the only way to obtain wealth is to take it away from someone else. I mean, that was just this cold philosophy of life.
And that was such brave storytelling, because here you are, and you have Blake, and Blake is the representation of the typical hero. He sees a mass murder. He's going to go about rectifying that by taking down this evil superstructure. And then what happens thereafter with Avon just totally blows your mind. You can't even believe what's happening, and it's just so wonderful, and it's such complex story writing. But all these people, they're always talking about verisimilitude, because like YouTubers like to throw that word around. But in literary theory, it's not just like, oh, okay, well, it's something where it feels like it's real. In literary theory, verisimilitude also gets into the idea of truth. And in as much, I would like to say that Avon might be more truth than the average person is willing to face it nakedly without the airs or the put-ons that people have when they're in public about what their morals, their ethics, their beliefs are, what their behavior is, what they're capable of. So I think there is a truth in Avon that is dangerous to the average person who's watching and realizes how much truth Avon represents. It's sort of, it makes you feel a little squirmy and a little squishy in your chair thinking, what would I do? I hope I'm not that.
I'm not stupid, I'm not expendable, and I'm not going.
I am not stupid, and I'm not going.
Yeah.
I've actually thought about this since I've watched every episode probably over a freaking 100 times. I'm insane obsessed. Every year I watch it all. I probably thought about this character more than I've thought of any other character in all of fiction. Good night, pop culture. Have a good one.
Good night, pop culture.
Take care, pop culture.
And I've thought about him a lot. I have a bit of a different interpretation than most people have on him. I believe that obviously that cynicism and that darkness was always there with him when he was, before he met Blake. And then in the year when he started, he really hated Blake at first because all he wanted to do was take the Liberator and get rich.
True.
And Blake, he built up a really strong, seeming like animosity for him early on. And then by the end of the first season, he started kind of realizing that, well, you do need other people. He was asked by Blake in his first appearance, in Avon's first appearance in Spacefall, when he was asked, someone talked about him getting caught for prisoners. Blake said, what went wrong? He says, I relied on other people. So he's very isolationist, but then he started to realize that you have this big, powerful ship. You're safer there and better off there than being on a Cygnus Alpha, the prison planet. And he started realizing that, as Blake said about him later, he plays the percentages. In other words, he would, that's why Blake was smart. Sometimes he would take Jenna with him so Blake wouldn't have a perfect pilot that he could maybe use. He would do different things because he wasn't sure that he trusted, or at least Avon didn't think Blake trusted him. And so therefore Avon doesn't trust anyone. But then you get to the episode Star One, the last episode of the second season, and we're spoilering, aren't we? Last episode with Blake.
Spoiler alert.
Where early on,
the
beginning of the episode.
Good night, JT Kirk.
Take care, JT.
Avon tells Blake, he says, I want, it's a long speech, which I do have memorized, by the way, but I won't subject you all to it. He basically tells Blake that I want it over and done with. I want to be free. And, Callie interjects, but you are free now, Avon. He goes, I want to be free of him. And Blake says, I never realized you really do hate me, don't you? But he doesn't answer. He just says,
he loves him.
When we have dealt with Star One, I will take you back to Earth, and then the Liberator is mine. Agreed? And then Blake, who is a master manipulator, says, agreed. But then he throws in, assuming the others go along with it. In other words, he's a brilliant manipulator. He's a manipulator of men. Yes. And Avon's an anti-hero. Well, later, at the end of the episode, when he kills Travis, and Avon kills Travis, they're back on the ship, and Blake's hurt. He goes, he comes to the bridge. He goes, I thought I might be able to help. And Avon says, in that condition? He goes, all right, I'll go. He says, can you bring yourself to trust me just this once? He says to Blake. And he walks off, and then he turns back to Avon. For what it is worth, I've always trusted you. From the very beginning. And then you see Avon's face for a second. It's a crack. And then, so you think, okay, and the series goes on without him. At the end of Terminal, why was he so easy for Servalan to manipulate into going to Terminal with that illusion that she used from his own memory and his fragmented facts that she'd used electronically? In that scene when he's talking to Blake, you can see the look on his face when he thinks he's talking to Blake. And later, he said, we made a deal. You promised me Blake.
Yeah.
And I spoke to him. She heard nothing. By the way, she tells him what it is. But before that, he even says something like, death is something Blake and I faced on a number of occasions. I always thought his death and mine might be linked in some way. when he realized that he'd been had, he was pissed. But when he realized it wasn't Blake, hey, I don't know. It was, you could tell he loved Blake.
Makes you want to cry because you find out that he loved him. And it's one of the worst things that could ever happen to you, because then we don't get more.
And in that last episode, what he does to him, you could you'll never know.
No,
You'll never know. I won't spoiler it, but there could be reasons why he did it that I have in my own mind, because I don't care how contrived it is, since I wanted it to go along as a show. I have my own conclusion to that I would have changed. I would have had the same ending, but I would have had the next episode comes along and certain thing didn't happen. I don't want to spoil it for anyone else.
Yeah, don't spoil the very, very, very end. Yeah. But yeah, that's I'm so happy that you showed me that. I do love that as much as I love many, many books. And I can't really say that about TV. I think TV is garbage, but that is not. It's absolutely beautiful. And The Prisoner, that wonderful Irishman who made that weird Alice in Wonderland Cheshire cat smoking some sort of illicit substance feeling to it. It's amazing. I love The Prisoner. I thought it was outstanding. So as far as what geeks have shown me, I am very happy that I got to see what bizarre poetry looks like as prose by watching The Prisoner, and by watching a television show that should have been a stage play, and a beautiful stage play, like
the same
watching
one.
watching a Greek tragedy, and you don't even care that the props and the sets are cheap. Just Blake Seven is just one of the most beautiful things you'll ever watch, and it does remind me of live theater. So when you talk to me about geek, I have so much respect for you, because you showed me something that feels like a Greek tragedy and plays out like a stage play and looks as gorgeous as a stage play and has this beautiful biting dialogue. And then you show me this bizarro world poetry as prose crazy thing that happens with The Prisoner. And you have all this symbolism and all these similes, metaphors. You have all this stuff happening in it. I love both of them. Both of them were gorgeous. And I hate television. So, and Titus Andronicus is my favorite Shakespeare hungry boy. I love Titus Andronicus. Titus Andronicus is, although banned for over 350 years, Titus Andronicus, I think around 350 years, is I think far and away Shakespeare's best work.
Yes. Well, and then Shakespeare, I think his second best work is when he was hanging out with the doctor in that episode of the Shakespeare show.
Right?
He did meet Doctor Who. You laughed, but he met him. I mean, I saw it.
Yeah.
That was actually pretty good. I had a pretty good one.
I think for me, Hungry Boy, it's got to be Titus Andronicus, and then I think it's King Lear. And I think The Tempest. Those are my top three. I think that they have been in the top three for most of my life, and there are others auditioning for those three spaces because there are so many great plays. But just those three will always be so important to me. I think they're amazing plays, and they're wonderful to watch.
Did you read them in the original Klingon?
They're much better than the original Klingon. Yeah, I agree.
Well, if you're out there and you're not an academic and you didn't have an opportunity to study Shakespeare in college or university, Clobby raises a good point. Many of you probably had to read a Shakespeare play in high school, and you decided, oh, what is this nonsense? It's gobbledygook. I don't want to read this. I want you to know that Shakespeare wrote plays. And you were supposed to see them. You were supposed to go and watch them, and watch the gesticulation and the way that the countenance, the visage of the actors. And you were supposed to watch the way that they interacted. And even though the language, the diction is aged, you can still draw so much from it, even if you're not a weirdo who understands every word, like nerds. But if you ever felt like pushed out of the circle of being able to appreciate Shakespeare, I want you to know that absolutely reading it is not the way you should imbibe Shakespeare.
Oh yeah, I was
Shakespeare
just
is-
gonna say. Oh, that's so right. Because sorry to interrupt, but I was just gonna say, like Taming of the Shrew, we had to read it, and then we watched the Mark Singer version from who
What?
was there's a Mark Singer
Mark
version.
Singer? That Mark Singer?
Yeah, that Mark Singer is in
Wow.
Taming of the Shrew, and
Really?
he's fantastic in it. He's
Wow.
and we had to do it for English class. And once you, and sorry to interrupt, Raquel, but once you
no,
watch,
I love
yeah,
that you did. Continue.
yeah, and then once you start, what you read it, but then when you watch the play, and of course, it's like, wow, I really understand it, and 100% what you're saying in terms of seeing the actors, and you get into the rhythm of the dialogue, and actually. Shakespeare wrote for common people too. Well, you know, that
Yes.
was the language of the time. It's not a highfalutin language. You know, it's just the language has changed over the years. But yeah, so that was a great version of Taming of the Shrew, and I'm looking it up on. It just jogged my memory, as in terms of what you know, what's when you read Shakespeare versus watching the play performed. Macbeth, there's a famous version of Macbeth. I think it was done by Playboy Pictures. We watched in English class too, which I think we had to get permission from our parents to watch. I think there's one nude
The
scene in it or
Scottish
something.
play, you mean?
Yeah. So, but that was actually an excellent version too. So,
You go
yeah,
and get the book after, because if you want to reflect on the use of multiple adjectives, if you want to reflect on the simile and the metaphor, and you want to reflect on this beautiful, very, very distinct description that moves the furniture of the mind, that should happen after, folks. Go watch the play, then buy the book. Sit down with the book and say, oh, do you remember when he said this about the world, when he said this about beauty? And then you go and you look up these wonderful adjectives as he sets up this glorious sentence, and then it's such a great feeling once you are able to say, that's what he said. Oh, it was so sexy, it was so beautiful, it touched me, it meant something to me. So yeah, go watch the play, then get the book if you want to go look things up, and just enjoy Shakespeare. Shakespeare should be watched and enjoyed. And yes, it was meant to be heard. It was meant to be watched. And same with the opera. The opera is also another thing that you should go and see, and fear not these bourgeoisie. Fear not. Walk in there fearlessly. The opera was once a place where common people went. They were smoking cigarettes. They were smoking all manner of things. They were drinking alcohol, and it was common to see ladies with their small dogs. So there were dogs in the audience. People booed. They hissed. They got up and yelled and threw things and walked out if the opera sucked. Don't be afraid of these weird social barriers where, you know, you think you're a proletariat, and so you ought not to edge into the bourgeoisie side of life. Walk in there fearlessly. Take your seat. Just don't bring your dog. You'll get thrown out.
Are you sure? You know that from experience, eh?
Yep.
Did you do that?
Right.
Did you do that?
Bring my dog? Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, I would love to. I wish we could go back to the times where you could bring your dog. You know how marvelous it would be? I would have Lola on one side and Paco on the other.
Puppy dogs.
I would wear one of those sky-high wigs, only mine wouldn't have rats and lice in it. And I would wear the biggest dress in the entire universe. It would be such a ridiculous dress. It would look like the same little knitted dress that your grandmother made for the roll of toilet paper for the back of the toilet in the 70s. It would be that big. It would be huge.
Yeah. There you go. Excellent thing. Well,
I do have
3 Mark. You got something?
Yeah, well, I do have the enabling something to enable, but I'll just show you. I'll show you 2 seconds.
No, it's no hurry.
Yeah, and I'll show 2 seconds of this. I won't play it, but I'll just show you. It's fun. Mark Singer and Taming of the Shrew.
Mark Singer. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, with
I already got struck the other night. I don't want to get play
No,
anything
no,
else.
I'm just showing a
Oh
still.
yes,
but
don't
this
get
is-
us in trouble.
No,
And
no,
Dark
this is
Shadow
a
Logan,
still.
yes, Mel Gibson's Hamlet was really well done.
Yeah, you know what happened with that clip? I think was going to make it shorter, and probably it was too long. But that's, I mean, you could fight that, but it's not worth, probably not worth it. But here's a clip of Mark, just a picture still of Mark Singer, and then I got to show an enabling thing. But there's Mark Singer, Taming of the Shrew.
Oh wow!
Just the proof.
Wow,
it's a shirtless
used
Mark.
a cup, I think.
Well, maybe that is a cup, but yeah. And then here we got something really. Well, it's Shakespeare. And then we got a good enabling here. We got
Look at
here
Hungry
we go.
Boy, Beastmaster at
Oh,
the
no, I thought
bar,
you got a picture.
Opera Pups.
Yeah. So
I love you, Hungry Boy.
we got finally we've got it. We've got
Oh, I put this on my Twitter.
yeah, so this is big news. This will make everyone happy. We're getting Star Trek the motion pictures. We're getting it on 4K Blu-ray. They're going to have a 6-movie collection on 4K.
I know Bill Hunt. He's a
I already
very
got
nice
them.
person.
We can't get them. Can't get it individually.
Well,
No.
you can get them individually and
Oh,
as a
can you?
set. So that's the nice thing. So they're going to
No.
sell the 4K edition of TMP. And
Hey,
so, well, to
Diesel.
summarize, I'll put
Let me
this
write
in,
that
but
down.
we're going to get some great new
on.
TMP features. So we're going to get an audio commentary with the guys that were on the Retro Blasting Iconicon movie
Nice.
Omelette panel. These three guys, Fine, Matt Dicino, and Dockerman, who were, had that great panel. They've got a new audio commentary that'll be on. And of course, some of these, I guess, were, the original audio commentary. But then they're also going to have a documentary on how it came to be. So they have this huge deleted scenes, effects tests, costumes tests, all this new great stuff about how they came out with the, how they did this movie, which we got to hear, some of it with those guys in that great Iconicon panel. And then they're going to have, I guess, they're going to have also going to have a director's edition, the complete adventure with the theatrical cut, and then the special longer version, which was on TV, which I watched in '83, which is going to be wild to see. And they're going to have deluxe packaging with all kinds of great stuff with it, which is going to be so cool. So and then they're going to have you can buy the whole picture collection together, so you can get all of them in 4K now for the first time. You can get all the movies in 4K. Let me zoom in a little bit so it's easier to read. And the Dolby Atmos sound, which is phenomenal. And then they're going to have, of course, Wrath of Khan. It's the same. It's going to return to theaters again, so we have to go see that 4th, 5th, and 8th. And then they're going to have, I guess it's the same version, though. Should be noted the 4K HD remastered Blue editions of Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, and The Voyage Home are the same disc released last year. So that's why if you've already bought those, there's no point in buying that set. You're better off buying them individually. The theatrical cut is only included in the director's edition of TMP and in the Star Trek 6 picture sets, not included in the single SKU of the director's 4K or Blu-ray. So plan accordingly. It gets confusing, but and they're also coming in now for the first time Star Trek 5 in 4K Ultra HD. Unfortunately, we don't have a director's cut of that, and they're also going to get Star Trek Undiscovered Country will be in 4K, which will be
I'm
nice.
buying the whole thing, and I'm getting a 4K television. I have to.
Nice.
I mean, it's time. Like, I have to do this, right?
Yeah, and they're not too expensive now either. So then they're going to have Undiscovered Country. They're just detailing all, what's on there. So I don't think there's anything new other than being in 4K on these releases.
Yeah,
really,
but
TMP. No, but you're getting in the best version.
Just the guys from TMP.
Oh yeah, just
those guys were glorious, and we had such a good time with them, and they did such a lovely job.
No, that was a great panel. Yep.
Did you see this? Diesel has left a very generous super chat for the boss.
$10 super chat. Thank you so much, Diesel. Raquel, have you ever read the book Armor by John Stakely? It's my favorite science fiction novel ever. It kind of reminds me of Starship Troopers. I highly recommend it. You familiar with that one?
No, I'm on it right now, and it says the planet is called Banshee. The air is unbreathable. The water is poisonous. It is home to the most implacable enemies that humanity in all its stellar expansion ever encountered.
Diesel, I'm very familiar with John Stakely. I've met him a few times at different cons down here. Unfortunately, he passed back in 2010. Buddies of mine, I've never read this book, but buddies of mine love it. Claude,
Really?
Claude loves it. I got a couple buddies of mine who highly recommend. I always meant to. We met him back in Dallas in the 80s. He also did the book Vampires with an S at the end, a dollar sign for the S at the end, that was made into a John Carpenter film, Vampires. And yes, so I used to see him at cons all the time down here. We used to. My buddies we used to hang out. We met him, so I met him a few times. I have not read that book, but I know many friends have, and were big fans of it. And,
It's good stuff, hey?
He passed too soon, so I don't. I always wanted to. I just never. Now I haven't thought about it in many years. And now Diesel reminds me of that. But
It's an expensive book. The
Is it
mass
really?
market paperback is $13.
he's been. Yeah, it was in print for a while. Let's see different covers on it, but I'll have to find out which one Claude has. He has a few of them probably.
I need to
Yes.
buy this, but I want to pay $13 for it. Not for a mass market paperback. You guys know I'll definitely pay that
I
for
don't
a
know how
trade
long it's-
back, but not a mass market
Yeah.
paperback. That's just a teeny tiny guy with 8-point font. So I'll have to find a way.
Right.
I'll go to the WeBook Inn and see if I can find a Diesel. I've written it down. Thank you so much for the recommendation. I will get it this weekend at the
Yeah,
WeBook
I
Inn.
don't. I don't know if it's still in print or anymore or what. But anyway, but yeah, John Stakely was an interesting chat, and did die too young.
Yep. So this
Oh,
is
knows more about him than I do, though. Yeah, look at that cover.
yeah, this is gonna be great. So this is 125
pinball
smack
machine.
rolls. I guess
How much?
suggested retail price
Oh,
125, but I guess it should sell for cheaper.
But I got the Blu-rays of all. Oh, that's 4K.
Well, it's 4K though. Yeah,
I
and
don't have any
that's
Ks on
all
my
6
TV, that's all
movies.
I need.
Well, your TV is technically
not,
it's 4K, but the specs say it. I don't know what you said you have a bump TV, but
Yeah, it's missing
I looked
some
it up
Ks.
for you. It's a special K TV.
Yeah, it's bad.
So, and now this is the one I got to have. So this is the cover art for Star Trek: The Motion
wow.
Picture, the Director's Edition, the Complete Adventure Limited Collection, 4K 8 Ultra box set. It's on at Amazonian for 100 smack rolls.
Wait a minute. That's not even out yet, right?
Well, it's out for pre-order. You can order it today. I got to
And
do
that's
an
just the motion
enabling.
picture itself.
Well, you get that. Look what
It's
comes with
pre-order.
it. Yeah, but and you
Oh,
also it can also
my
core Apple too.
God, okay,
So
Corey
it comes.
Apple, 100
It comes with bumper stickers for your car, cards, posters. Look at this Enterprise here.
Jesus.
I guess the disco in there. You got pamphlets. You got these cool stickers. You got a book.
Wait
that
a
comes
second.
with
I was
it.
looking at the book. How much is this? Where is this?
It's on
Woo-hoo.
Amazon for
Hunsky.
$98 right now.
Mm.
Limited
What is
edition.
this? What is this? It's the complete one?
It's called the Star Trek: The Motion Picture, the Director's Edition. Raquel has to buy this. The Complete
Yes.
Adventure and 4K HD box set. Amazon price $98.
$100 American. I wonder how much that'll set me back Canadian. Let me go see.
But this is what it all comes with. Yeah, so if I click on it, does it make it and big in it? Let's see. Yeah, so it's $97 right now. And I guess I have to buy it. So it's
just buy it now. Don't dox yourself though, but
Yeah,
buy
yeah.
it now. But don't wait.
yeah, right. Yep.
Okay, let's go find
I
out how much
close
this
that.
bad bitch is for me. And so, how do I make sure that I'm getting all of the crap that goes with it?
Well, because it's
Crap.
it's the $100 one. That's why there's two versions. So there's a $100 one, a $30 one. So the $30 one only has just the
But
movie.
how do you
So
check
well,
what the contents are? It's not saying grr.
well, it's the
R.
$100. It says limited edition. So here's what it comes with too.
Okay, let's see.
The Director's Edition. Here it is. So 3-disc limited collector set includes a theatrical cut, special longer TV version. Set is presented in deluxe packaging along with exclusive collectibles, including reproductions of original promotional material, a booklet with behind-the-scenes scenes, images, stickers, and more.
Hold on.
So
This doesn't sound like it. Hold on.
yeah, you got to make sure you're buying
I know.
the right version. But yeah,
Son of
But,
a sea
yeah.
cook. I don't think that this is right.
but if you click on this, or if I put this article link in, Of course, it's going to link you to
The American one.
USA Amazon. I
But
guess,
whatever,
right? Yeah.
let's see it.
That's the article. Yep. So.
Yeah. Where'd you put that? Oh, you put that on the thing. Well, let me go on
Yeah.
my laptop instead of my computer and go catch up with you here. Hold on, honey. I'm coming. I'm coming. You and your enabling. Terrible human being.
What is you?
I mean, you're one of my best
enabling
friends. I love you, but you're also a terrible human
rotten
being.
enabler.
Yes. Sorry.
You dirty,
Damn
rotten
you.
geek, you.
With hell's last breath, I
Never
spit
trust
at
a
thee.
Okay,
Yeah, so the
hold on.
director's cut special edition, $30. Let's see,
Where is that? There it is.
pre-order.
Hi there. Okay, let's go get this.
Yeah, I followed that
Yeah,
link.
but where
I
is
took
it
to-
on Amazon?
It's actually not showing up. Oh, director's edition. Let's see.
This is what I'm saying. You have to fully enable me.
Yeah, so I don't know why, because it's a 4-movie collection. Let's see, there's a newer version.
I need the new version. I need the proper version.
Well, if you Google
Take my
the
money.
complete adventure, they're calling it the complete adventure, I
All
guess.
right,
and
let me
it's
go
going
see. Amazon.ca.
The complete adventure limited collector's
Star
edition
Trek the
across the universe.
Complete Adventure?
Star Trek. I can't sing
Across
the
the
song. I'm in
universe.
trouble. I decided to be the prize. I think I'm in
Yeah, this is not available in Canada.
What?
I
The
cannot
Canadians,
Eventually
get
it'll
it.
have to
It
be,
is
but-
not here.
you Canadians don't deserve it.
And you know
our
what comes
movie.
up first?
What?
The filth.
Of course. Well, it's
Okay,
our
let's put
movie. Nobody else
4K.
can have it. No other country can have this movie but us.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hey,
Americans are so spoiled, but I love you.
we're spoiled.
Good night, Chris. Yep.
Chris Persia's leaving.
Night, Chris Percy.
Oh, good night, honey. Mwah, mwah,
Take it easy,
mwah.
buddy.
I love you. Thank you for everything today. You're amazing. Love you. Love you.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, I guess you have to. I guess it's just came on like in the last day, so maybe Amazon's
Well, if
not.
Bill put it up, like Bill's an
Yeah.
insider. Bill knows, like.
Yeah, so it's that link did work to get me to that.
Well, why wouldn't it be? It's going to be worldwide. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
it should be worldwide, right? Yeah,
You
One would
drive
think,
me
but not one.
crazy.
I would
That
think
is
so. But
beauteous, but man, oh,
yeah, it's
Oh.
100 smack rolls.
no thanks.
And,
I mean, no.
and then you got to wait. Like sometimes if you wait, then it gets it becomes cheap. It becomes cheaper. But
Indeed, Diesel, we love us some TMP around here. I remember when this movie used to get beat up so much, and now it's gotten a lot more love. I mean, people still make fun of it, but by the way, look, not the wrong. You make fun of any movie. I love Wrath of God. I make fun of it. It's just no big deal. But this got a bum rap a lot. I think with a lot of people.
yeah.
The motionless picture. Remember when
Yeah, wrong bad rep. But I think the director's cut really improves the film. I mean, it's
yeah, but even before that, it was fine.
no, it was
Yeah,
great. But I
hear
mean, it really you're getting the sound and the
I watched it a million times before I ever saw a director's cut.
Yeah, and I loved it from the very beginning.
No,
But
always-
like I said to the guys who redid this whole thing for us, when we were in the chat with them, and I thanked them. I said, "This is a vindication for every nerd who
Right.
who loved this planetarium style movie that is just very cerebral and gorgeous. It's got all this futurism, all this hope, all this inspiration for innovation, for invention, and just that dry dock was just mind blowing. I mean, this is the stuff dreams are made of. So it was a vindication for us, and I thank them for that.
Yeah,
it's a
Even
special movie. Yeah.
Hungry Boy. Even your boy. I think Marv Wolfman hated it. But when he was talking about it, when he was working for DC doing Trek or whatever. But
Dagnammit.
for
Trying to
Marvel
find it,
doing
Raquel?
Trek, yeah.
I'm trying really hard to find it, Mark. $100 is nothing. Like, that's a good price for that.
I won't mention that I just bought it, but
Oh, I hate
Well,
you. Why do you do this to me?
I didn't mention it.
Why?
well,
That's
I
true.
can always buy you a
He
copy.
totally
and send
didn't
it to you.
say it.
I just didn't say it.
Mother,
Hungry Boy remembers.
Fuddruckers.
Hey, I like
Mother
Marv.
Fuddruckers.
Marv is okay, but it happens. Well, a lot of people don't like it. My boy Matty Zaddy don't like it.
Yeah.
My boy Michael French don't like it that much. I mean, a lot of people don't like the movie. That doesn't bother me. And I don't look. You could joke and call it the motionless picture. It's a funny joke because it is not a super action romp. Who cares? I love every damn second of it. I mean,
Well, there are people that love TMP, and there are people who are wrong.
Well, there you go. I'm with that. I'm with that because I love. I mean, it's and something about the movies. Look, movies let's just be honest about something. Movies ruin Star Trek in a sense.
Yeah.
But not that they're not. It doesn't mean the movies are bad. Obviously, I love them. They ruined Star Trek because they made the expectation that Star Trek's got to be in movie theaters all the time. It doesn't got to be in movies. It needs to be on freaking television. Then it could have been never one movie. And for example, if you gave me a chance, as much as I love the motion picture, and to have Star Trek Phase 2 actually get made, and maybe down the road Nimoy decides to come back after it makes it and last a nice 5-6 year run before it goes into a next generation or something later, that's what I would have wanted. Any day of the I would prefer that. In any day of the week, I wanted a series over that. It could have never been on a damn movie screen. It never should have been. But that's corporate jackasses for you.
And Nimoy would have come back eventually.
We got something with Star Wars is big, but let's do our Star thing. It's got a different word in it, but it's got Star in it. So corporate jackasses.
Get a hold of Bill. This is one of the reasons why I feel weird that I abandoned my old Twitter account, but it was just too crazy. There were way too many people on my old Twitter. But I was friends with Bill Hunt ever since I got on Twitter, and I could just message him and ask him about this. And now that I've abandoned that account, I can't just reach out and message him because you know what? Every single link he has here, the leading to buying it, it
USA.
doesn't populate on my side of the border on Amazon.ca.
Weird.
Well, it could be because it just came out. They announced the pre-order. It's not going to be until September. No,
right. But look it's got all the goodies, and now you get all the goodies, and I get none.
This is a gooder.
Kal-El, there you go. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I cannot tell you how many times I've not really liked something, and then as I got older, liked it a whole much more. Rarely has it ever happened that I really loved something and then really hated it later. But it's happened to me on many occasions because you change and you change over time. At least I do. That I watch something and I'll go, and then later I'd see it again and go, oh man, what was wrong with me? I really like that's happened to me on a number of occasions.
Yep.
Larry can't find it either. I'm just starting to catch up with the chat because I was looking all over the internet. Larry.
He's in.
He can't get it either.
Canada also.
Is
Larry, you in Canada also, sir?
He must be, or maybe close to the Canadian border. Who knows? Or he might not even.
Actually, I have to say, I had to follow the link in this article when I was trying to find it separately. I couldn't. I had to follow that link in the article.
I clicked on the thing, and all that comes up is the filth.
Yeah, but if I do a search for it on Amazon, I can't find it separately, which I thought was interesting. I had to actually
use Bill's URL.
Use Bill's link, to get it. Yeah,
weird. Wow.
It's called the Complete Adventure Star Trek, but I'm sure hopefully it'll be
right.
It'll come up popular. I hope so. I can't imagine it's going to sell out. I mean,
I got to talk to Bill about this because Bill's got to help me get it here in Canada.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll.
Is whining and
that's
sniveling
something that can't be not be available. Yeah.
When's it coming out?
September 6th will be the watch party in the backyard.
Damn.
It'll be should still be warm enough.
If I show up, will you not make sea bugs?
Yeah, I'll make you. Do you like smoked ribs?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I could smoke some ribs.
Potato salad.
Pork.
I show up and go, who the hell are you? What the hell?
Beans and meat.
Yeah, start. Here's the link. This is the Digital Bits article, and then it takes you.
Can you paste that to the? Oh, you're the best, sweetheart. Thank you so much.
That's the Digital Bits article, and then this is. I'll copy the link.
Where's the link?
And this is the link to the. That's it. Oh, and it's got the ASIN number there.
Yeah, buddy might send me that link through a text yesterday.
Yeah, so that's the Digital Bits, so they get credit if you purchase it through there, which is good for them.
Sense, so.
Oh, I'm sending shin kicks to New York.
What if I
New
send the link that I
York
got?
enjoys the shin kicks.
What if I send Raquel the link that I got from my friend
Try, yeah.
Larry and I are trying.
through
Is
the?
Larry Canadian? I don't remember if he answered or.
Oh, look at what comes up. The results from that URL, I get World's Greatest Dad and the Cafe Press Star Trek United Federation of Planets large mug. Head desk,
Oops.
head desk, head desk.
No, I sent you. There it is. I sent you a link in the walkie-talkie. Raquel, I don't know if it does any good or not,
Ooh,
but
ooh, 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 ooh. Let me go to.
it's the one that he's looking at. I think though. I don't know.
It's charging. It's charging in the other room. I'll have to
Don't worry
get it
about
when I
it. Don't worry about
walkie-talkie you
It's
later.
probably just the same
Now
one he's
everybody
looking at
wants
right there.
potato salad. I love potato
I
salad.
do
Yeah.
love German potato salad. That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah,
I made a nice macaroni salad the other day too. I don't know if you like macaroni salad. But...
Can't do the macaroni salad, but potato salad, any kind of potato salad. But my favorite that I make that my husband absolutely loves is I make loaded baked potato salad.
Oh,
So I
That's
bake the
good.
potatoes.
This is-
I mash half of them and then cut up the other half of them. And then I put in 2 pounds of bacon,
This is just
sour
the same
cream,
link. Same
a
link
full
he's
bag
showing
of
us.
cheddar cheese, shredded cheddar cheese, sour cream, a little bit of mayonnaise. Top it all off with either garlic chives or green onion. It's like his favorite.
That sounds awesome. Yeah,
It's probably just the same link he sent me. Never mind. Oh.
but
Larry is tweeting
it'll
me.
eventually.
But
It's
he's
got
showing right here,
eventually. It's got eventually be available though. I can't imagine it wouldn't be. Especially you've got the home of what's the city? You've got city of Vulcan there, right? So it's got to be available.
We do.
Yeah.
Larry, Larry. I'm gonna go find my Larry, Larry. Here he is. Hi, Larry, Larry.
Potato salad. Yeah, my dad makes that. Everyone likes it with me. Of course, I won't touch it.
Well, I made a really good
yuck.
my pasta salad. My mom makes it too. It's not like a mayo based one. It's more like a garlic and balsamic vinegar, olive oil, cooked onions. So I have to cook the onions. So you cook the onions so they reduce. You get that's when the onions are really good when they what's the term when you cook the onions all the way down?
Hey, Dumpster Rick.
Hello.
Oh, I
Hello,
know. Hey, buddy.
Dumpster Rick.
Caramelized onions.
What's up? Good to see you there, bud. I remember who you are. But
That is a very cool name.
took me a
Dumpster
while.
Rick.
Took me a while to remember who he was from that handle. But good to see you, man. Okay, because he usually used my civilian name.
Yeah, I gotta have the cooked onions or no onions at all.
Caramelized
Mark,
onions. I love caramelized onions.
Can't do
Yeah.
it.
Good
Raquel,
stuff. Yeah,
here
so you make the
is
salad
the
with that,
title to search Star Trek One, the motion picture. Let me go check. Let me go check, honey. Thank you, Larry. I'm gonna go check. So he put Star Trek.
Y'all watch Star Trek? Y'all watch it?
I love watching the Star Trek. Yeah.
The
watch Star Trek.
picture.
Like the beginning of the Free Enterprise. Mom, I thought you went to see that Star Trek movie, Mom. How many times
Star
did I tell you?
Trek. Yeah.
A track is what a train runs on. A trek is what the Enterprise goes on.
Yeah.
I hate it when people say that.
Oh, they
Star
they
Trek.
used to say that all the time back then. Yeah,
It still doesn't come up. It still just keeps offering me the stupid Blu-ray.
Those buttholes.
I'm gonna have to wait until stupid September. Stupid.
No, it'll probably make it soon.
I'm gonna have to keep checking back because this is something I have to own. Frickin' Mark.
Sorry.
Just put me in the poorhouse.
Damn, Andy's gonna come after me. Yep.
Funny.
Oh my. Oh my. This is Star Trek. Y'all watch that show, Star Trek with Dr. Spock. Yeah, that and Dr. Spock. They were also in Dr. Spock. It was like a, and then and that's also the thing they did in Free Enterprise when that woman, that chick, said to Rob, said Dr. Spock, that Dr. Spock guy, those ears. He said it's Mr. Spock, Layla. The doctor was the baby expert. Actually, the baby idiot. But yes. But that's one Raquel really does need to see. Free Enterprise. That's one.
Oh god, that's so hysterical.
I do need to see that.
You know,
I gotta
Robert
write that
Meyer
one down too.
Requiem for a Martian. That's the best line in the movie.
Robert Meyer Burnett told a story about how there's a line in there. Well, it's not spoilers, just a line where basically the Rob character, his character, when his chick says something like, "You can't live in the 24th century," because I would never live in the 24th century. Only the original series, only classic. I effing, he says the word. I hate the next generation. Only original series. He says that in the movie. And later at a screening of the movie or something, Rick Berman and a couple of people guys were there. I said, "Oh God, they're gonna see this." And it's like, oh shit.
Oops.
Love it.
That was hysterical.
But he directed all those documentaries on those TNG
Yeah.
Blu-rays and stuff. I guess
I like that fella. He's always been nice to me. I
Who's
enjoy
that?
his company.
R&B?
We streamed with him a couple of times. He's a nice feller.
R&B, yeah, he's cool.
Oh yeah, it's great. Yeah.
He's cool. He loves his Trek and knows his Trek. Good Lord, does he know his Trek?
Hey, so who wants to get out of here and go eat?
I want to go eat some popcorn or something.
Well, also, no offense, guys, but I'm melting. Like, I need to open the window.
You need to get out of
Well,
here.
admit it. You're going down to the Best Buy to try to find this. No, just kidding.
Actually, that's a great idea. I think I
It's
will
not
go
here.
to Best Buy tomorrow and see if they have
Well,
it.
no. Well, they would only have it for pre-order. Yeah, it wouldn't be a.
But at
it's
least
not
I could
Apple's-
pre-order it and I could
pre-order it.
confirm that it has all the goodies in it.
Yeah, you want to
Go
make sure
for
you
it.
get the right
Maybe
one,
they can. You never know. So, all right, everybody. We'll forego.
Larry got it.
What?
All right, Larry. Congrats.
Oh,
Right on,
there you
Larry.
go. Yeah.
Eat it up, baby. Make
Search-
sure you got the right one, though.
search
Don't get the
on
stupid
Trek
Blu-ray
porn.
with the white back. It's got to be that shimmery,
Yeah, get the big
goldy,
box.
bronzy kind of color.
Well, it depends on, he'll know by the price he pays. Anyway, thank you all for being here with you tonight. We're not going to waste your time with doing all the shout outs to everybody, goodbyes and stuff like that, because it just takes forever. And, we're going to get Raquel out of here, but I'll do a couple of show notes. First of all, Mark D, what you got going on?
Thank you. Yep. Well, I'm gonna do an enabling video, but you guys all got to bear the
On
brunt
track?
of it. Larry,
On this?
on this Star Trek.
Everyone,
and,
go to your wallets right now. Take out your credit card, stick it in a glass of water, and put it in the freezer. And then and only then may you watch Mark D with the C's Enabling Hour.
yeah. And then
Just kidding, Mark. Please continue.
Yeah. And so I've been pretty busy lately. So my videos, I haven't had as many videos out, but I got to review some of the action figures I just got and try to convince people to buy them. But I'll be on Sunday night with Sunday Night Geekery, and hopefully Clobbering Time's gonna be there. And once in a blue moon, Raquel is able to pop in. I know that's your family night, but once in a while, and we'll be talking probably more some Thor and maybe a little bit of Stranger Things, and wherever the chat, we always end up talking about food or onions and sauce. You never know, but I appreciate everyone who's subbed to the channel.
On pizza.
Clams on pizza.
Pizza.
Oh, and I got to do my video on 3D printing the Orville. So
There you
that's even though the show is probably taking a little bit of a turn, but yep. But
Dive.
and
I'm
hopefully
so
I'll be on
glad everyone
Saturday a
had
little
good
bit for.
time. Do you guys see all these comments, Mark?
No,
I'm sorry to
what?
interrupt. Look at all these beautiful comments in the chat. I love you guys. I'm so happy you had a good time.
Thank you all for being here
Thank you,
tonight. We really
Kalel. Yep.
appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Diesel. Yep. Thank you, everyone. Yep. It was a lot of fun hanging out here.
Thanks, Kalel. Thank you all so much for it. Raquel, any closing words?
Yes, please. I would like to thank every person who showed up here tonight. I just love you. I love your company. I had a wonderful time with you. Thank you so much for supporting this channel and this show. I want to thank everyone who also donated to keep the lights on at the virtual comic book shop. I think that that is just so tremendous. Thank you. I love Clobby so much, and I love
I
this
love you.
space that he has made. So thank you for supporting that. I want to thank the Wrenches. I love the Wrenches. I love Chris Persia very much. He's such a sweet person. I really love Eric Kay. Such a gentleman, such a kind person. And they've been with us, promoting us and helping us since the beginning. And all the other Wrenches out there who help keep this community safe. I want to thank everyone on the panel, of course. I love Mark. He's a wonderful maker. If you don't know what a maker is, that's just nerd and geek talk for someone who makes things with his own hands. He's an artisan. Please check out his channel. He's so talented and is such a kind and wonderful person. Please follow him on YouTube. And I want to thank Clobby. Clobby, my captain, one of my best friends in the whole wide world. Thank you for creating this space for us. I adore you. You are just, I just want to smooch your whole face. I had a wonderful time tonight. Thank you so much for making this night special.
Oh. Well, I love you too. Thank you so much. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., I'll be on my great buddy Loki's channel reviewing the latest episode of the Horville. And then tomorrow night, hopefully I'll be at Nick's my good buddy Nick Weiser's stream, comic book stream. And then Saturday, a special Clobberin Times review special, which will review Thor Stolen Thunder, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. Hopefully Mark D will be joining us, my buddy J-Man, hopefully Sean. And then, of course, Saturday night Star Trek. 1 to 9, same Trek time, same Clobby channel. We'll be reviewing Star Trek Gibberations and First Con Crack, which is going to be great fun. We hope you join us. And thank you all for being here with us tonight, my friends. I want to play you out with these important messages, and then the credits. Have a wonderful rest of your night. I hope we see you more this weekend. Take care. Thank you so much, my friends. Thank you. Thank you.